to order. Welcome to the Bessemer City Council planning session here Tuesday, February the 9th, 2021. We have a printed agenda. We have the invocation by Pastor William E. Scott.
Let us pray. Father, we stretch our hands to thee for no other help that we know. Thou withdraw thyself from us, but whither shall we go? Come this morning thanking you, our Heavenly Father, for this opportunity to call upon your name. You told us in your word that we wouldn't be anxious for anything but through supplication, prayer, thanksgiving, make our requests known unto you. We come this morning praying that you will give us now a will, accept your will and let your will be done. We pray for this council of here, city of Bessemer. Pray for our mayor. Pray for all other city officials of this great city of Bessemer. We lift all up to you, Father, that you will help us as we now undertake business of this city, that you will guide their mind, guide their thoughts. Help them, Father, as you said in your word, if we keep our mind stayed on you, you'll keep our mind in perfect peace. We thank you now for all that you allowed this council to do here in this great city. Realize you hadn't brought them this far to lead them now. Continue to bless them with your spirit. Because you said in your word, and not by might nor by power, but by your spirit. Pray now for all the citizens of this great city of Bessemer, which is styled as a marvel city. But we pray that our city become the Messiah city, that your spirit will continue to bless us and all those who don't know you in the free pardon of their sin, that they will accept your son Jesus. We pray now for all now that will be undertaken today. Whatever business is at hand today, we pray that you will guide them and lead them, because you said in your word that we should trust in you and lean not to our own understanding, but acknowledge you in all our ways, and you will direct our path. We need your direction now. We need your peace. We realize that now we're facing this COVID-19 and so many other variants now that's taking place. But we know you're still in charge, because the earth is yours and the fullness thereof. And grant us now what you see we stand in need of. Most of all, we thank you now for hearing this prayer. Thank you for answering this prayer. In your son Jesus' name, our Savior, that we pray this prayer. And we thank you now for hearing us, and thank you for answering us. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Scott. If you want to stay, you're welcome to stay. If you have other things to do, we thank you for coming by. We thank you for being a friend of this city, this council, and the mayor. Have a great day now. Item number 3, please.
Council roll call. Councilor Alexander.
Present.
Councilor Collier.
Present.
Councilor Crusoe.
Present.
Councilor Marshall.
Present.
Councilor Thickpen.
Present.
Councilor Matthews.
Present.
Councilor Donald.
Present.
7 present, no absent. You have a quorum.
Thank you. Item number 4, please.
Status small cell.
I think that was placed on by Councilor Matthews.
Oh,
Mr.
yes, ma'am.
Blankenship. Go ahead, Councilor Matthews. I'm sorry.
Madam Chair, yes, Mr. Blankenship wanted to, did he not get in touch with you by getting on the agenda to have a, I guess, kind of introduce make a short statement? I'm asking, did he contact you?
No, sir, but I did hear it from the council's attorney.
Okay, I guess you may ought to skip it. It may be late or something. I'm not sure. But I guess we can
I'll do that.
move on to the next item, please.
Yes, sir. I'll move to the next item. Thank you.
Mhm.
Item number 5, please.
City of Bessemer Sweet House, KM Square LLP.
Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me?
I can. How are you this morning?
I am wonderful this morning. Thank you for having us here.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Counselors, we have KM Square LLP who's interested in renting, leasing, or purchasing the Sweet House. I think you have her paperwork in your packet, and I hope that you've read it. KM Square LLC. Can you give us an overview of your company and what you plan to do with the Sweet House?
Sure. Thank you so much. Good morning to the mayor, the council, the citizens of Bessemer, and any guests that are joining us this morning. Thank you so much for having us. My name is Marcella Roberts, and I'm a partner with KM Square LLP. My partners are also joining us today, Monique Hauser and Karen Watlington. They are on the line. So we're a for-profit company. We were created as a catalyst for acquisition, community revitalization, and economic development. My partners and I bring more than 30 years of combined experience in the area of development, legal, marketing, compliance, management, and in other areas to the forefront to work with viable partners in redeveloping communities. So as we come before you today, we just want to share our desire to acquire the Sweet House that's located at 1830 Arlington Avenue in downtown Bessemer. So I'll share with you just a little bit in the interest of time. Ms. Donald told me that I only have 3 minutes, but as a child, I remember on Saturdays walking from the south side of Bessemer, from Davis Heights projects, walking down to downtown Birmingham. Oh, what a joy that was, because as I walked downtown, I knew that we would definitely stop by the bakery to get a donut. Now, I don't even remember if there was ever a name on the bakery. I just knew that it was the bakery. And so that was just the excitement for me of going into downtown, and then also going to get my favorite double cheese at Mr. Hot Dog. So I just remember as a child from the South Side projects with my grandmother, walking into downtown, and that being such a treat and a delight for us. And oh, how beautiful downtown Bessemer was at that time. And one of the things I remember about passing by on my way to the bakery, we would pass by this beautiful mansion that sat on the corner there right by the bakery. And so I didn't know anything about the house, but it was such a beautiful house. And only a girl like me from the projects could only dream of living in such a place as the Sweet House. And so later I came to know that to be the name of the house, but oh, how I admired that big, beautiful mansion with its columns and its wraparound porch. But as I got older, things began to change. And I noticed when I would go downtown, there was a different type of look to the Sweet House and some of the other areas in downtown. And so as I look around, the mansion began to change on the outside. It had a different look to it. And eventually the bakery was gone. And so that began to, in my eyes, to make for a different downtown Bessemer. So our vision is to restore this beautiful 100-year-old historic home and create a venue that showcases the warmth, the sweetness, and the Southern charm that can only be found in the Sweet House. From memorable weddings to business conferences and daytime retreats, the Sweet House will draw people from all across the United States to see Bessemer, Alabama, but they'll be able to see it through the eyes of this historic venue. So the areas of importance that are for us and remain, I think I've shared it with you in the document that you have in front of us, is the public image of the city of Bessemer. We want to work to revitalize structures and create jobs, bring back community pride to the south side of Bessemer. And we also want to encourage additional downtown revitalization. So in partnership with the city of Bessemer, KM Square, we stand ready to move forward with bringing back the sweetness to the corner of 19th Street and Arlington in downtown Bessemer. So we are happy to entertain any questions that you may have, but we look forward to working in partnership with you.
Thank you, Ms. Roberts. And if you stay within your time, I knew you could do it. Beautiful,
I work
beautiful
hard.
presentation, beautiful presentation. Counselors, do you have any questions for Ms. Marcella Roberts?
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
to Mrs. Roberts, good morning.
Good morning, Councilman Marshall.
Ms. Roberts, would you share with us maybe an idea of some of the other projects that your company has done, sort of as an example of what it is you would be doing and of some of your track record?
Oh, sure. My track record is that I've spent over 25 years in the area of community development. We primarily have redeveloped homes and affordable housing, affordable multifamily housing. A couple of developments that you might be familiar with, one in particular that I'm very proud of, that is currently the third phase is under construction, and that is the redevelopment of Loveman Village on Martin Luther King on the west side of Birmingham. Me and my development partner on the affordable housing side, we redeveloped that in partnership with the Birmingham Housing Authority to take down those dilapidated 500 units of what we've always known as the projects and redeveloped it into beautiful, affordable townhomes for the families in that area. So that's one to mention. And also we've partnered with the Woodlawn Foundation to develop a 64-unit townhouse development in that community. As I mentioned, we're committed to community revitalization, and we've been able to do that through affordable housing. And so those are just a couple that are within your reach that you'll be able to see.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
good morning. Will you
Good
be looking to get any grant money from the city of Bessemer? And what's your focus, your offer price for the sweet home if you wanted to buy the sweet home as opposed to leasing it?
Sure. At this time, we were not, if grant dollars are available, then we will be happy to entertain conversation around how we can utilize CDBG funds from the city of Bessemer for this project. But we had not factored that in, but we're happy to have that conversation. We are prepared to move forward with 504 SBA financing and to do the repairs to the Sweet House. As if you're not aware, the Sweet House is really is going to require extensive work. It has fallen into disrepair, and I do acknowledge that there was some work done to the property. However, a lot of work needs to be done to bring it up to code such that it could be used for anyone at this point. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done on the property. We would like to make an offer in writing. If that is where the council would like to go, we'll be happy to put that in writing and take into consideration the extensive repairs that will be needed to the property.
Madam Chair. I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, I'm Ms. Roberts. How are you? It's good to see you in your
Hi, Councilwoman.
again today. How are you?
Good morning.
So, I mean, have you had a chance to visit the Sweet Home? I hear you saying it needs extensive repair. You've had a chance to go inside, or somebody's had a chance to go inside to view it?
Yes, ma'am. A while back, I don't remember the under all the circumstances, but the Sweet House was open, and there was an official that was there that opened the house. And so myself and there were several other people that I don't know that were there to visit the property as well. And so I had an opportunity to go through it, to tour the rooms, to see everything that was involved, and also to take a look at the structure of the property, the extensive repairs that will be needed to the roof, the second floor, the outside porches and all of that. And the columns will definitely need to be replaced if they can't be repaired. But yes, I have had an opportunity to tour the facility.
Okay. I mean, I know when you and I spoke along with, I think it was Hauser, I think it was Hauser that was flying with us.
Yes.
I didn't recall it being a wedding venue. I mean, what were the ideas that you presented when we spoke?
When we spoke, I mentioned an event facility. So the event facility would facilitate weddings. If you're aware of the property, it's the outside adjoining lot was used as a venue for weddings. There is currently a gazebo with also sort of an elevated stage that's actually connected to the house. So,
oh yeah,
yes.
I pass by it every day. I'm only blocks away from it.
So the house presents an opportunity for a beautiful wedding venue, also for business meetings and other types of events to be held on the inside of the house. So there are a number of opportunities there that the house will avail itself to.
Okay. Thank you so much. I mean, I guess when she's done, my question, I guess, was more so towards the council as a whole. Are we now in a place of entertaining selling this on the Sweet Home? Would be my question. But you know, she can finish whatever it is if it's more that she wanted to present. Thank you so much.
Madam President.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, Councilor Collier.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, Ms. Roberts.
Good morning, Councilman Collier.
Wonderful presentation. We see you did your homework. We thank you for showing interest in the home. We thank you for want to come back and give back to the city of Bessemer. We just thank God for what you and your company is doing in the city of Birmingham and possibly in the city of Bessemer. Looking forward to working with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Collier.
Madam Chair.
Oh, yes.
Councilor Marshall.
I'm excited about, what the KM Square is looking to do. But just to be transparent, some of the council members may remember several years back, there was a historic, association that we have here in Bessemer who came and made a presentation in terms of wanting to do some work with the city as regards to Sweet House. And I guess I would just kind of put out to the attorneys whether we at least ought to give them some heads up or some notification to see what their interest level is in the Sweet House. That's my question to the attorneys, maybe.
Okay. Also, Madam Chair, can I kind of piggyback off of what Council Marshall just stated?
Yes, ma'am.
Not only that organization, if we want to think back a little further, if not roughly around the same time, we had individuals who came and actually placed a deposit down to secure the Sweet Home. So not only do we want to ask the organization that Councilor Marshall just mentioned, we need to be fair concerning the ones who actually secured the Sweet Home and were later told that we were not entertaining the idea as far as in selling it. So in all fairness, let's make sure we reach back to other entities who have shown interest that we withdrew upon. Thank you.
Councilors, I would ask.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir. Councilor Matthews.
May I?
Yes, sir.
And not only was it individuals that wanted to purchase, there had been some type of municipal interest, I think from the public safety. So it was a lot of moving parts back then. Too many that I care to talk about. But at the same time, have there been I guess a recent appraisal of this property? We haven't talked about this property in quite some time. Is there a current appraisal been done just in case there's a interest in someone buying it or we selling it? Does anyone know that?
Councillor Matthews, to my knowledge, that is one of the things that I was going to ask of this body, that we call a special meeting and that we go through what we went through before, such as appraisal, whether or not we want to sell the property, rent and or lease the property, whether or not we want to use the property for municipal purposes. We do have a religious organization who has an interest in the Sweet House, and the paperwork is in, and they, along with several others. But I would rather this body sit down and I call a special meeting and we discuss this in a meeting amongst the council. And we will be able to get back and better prepared to speak on whether or not we want to sell and or use this property as lease or municipal purposes.
Madam Chair.
Madam President,
Yes, sir. Good morning, Mayor Gully. I didn't know you were on the line. How are you this morning?
good morning. It's up to you. Good morning to all who are present, and good morning, Ms. Roberts. We
Good
thank you
morning.
for your presentation and stuff as well. Several things I'd like and stuff to add. One, an appraisal of the building and stuff was done. Now it was a while back when we previously and stuff discussed this. At this time, there's no, I can speak for municipal government, having talked and stuff with Chief Roper from a public safety standpoint. We have no interest in something in it at this time. I guess with all of that said, and all that I've listened to, my only concern and stuff would be, as long as the home and stuff is sitting there, it's deteriorating and stuff. So I really would like for us to sit down in this body, to sit down and somewhat expeditiously move and stuff on this. You know, this is a discussion that that council and mayor have had that transcend this council. We've had these discussions in previous years. The city does have about $250,000 and stuff in that property from what the work that has been done on the inside and stuff, well, and on the outside and stuff of the building. So to sit there and watch it go to seed, I'd like and stuff to see somebody do something and stuff with that property, because you know it's deteriorating at a rapid and stuff degree. You know, and I would say that when it comes to a proposal, legal might want to have and stuff a point. I mean, might want to have a comment on that. You know, entertain proposals and stuff from everybody that's still interested in choosing stuff the best proposal and stuff for this city. But you know, I hate to see it get bogged down for the next 5 or 6 years like it's already have. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Mayor Gully. As I stated, I would love to see us sit around in a special call meeting, go ahead and take care of this business of the city, because it is a beautiful home and I have been in it, and I think I've been in it, if I'm not mistaken, 2 weeks ago. And it is deteriorating from inside out. And I hate to see it there because it is a beautiful home. I would hope whomever get the property would restore it back to where it used to be, make it an icon for the city of Bessemer. I'll call a meeting. Mayor Gully, do you have anything on your open on your schedule this week?
Madam President, I have to get and so with my executive assistant, and we'll sit down and we'll make some time available.
Okay, as soon as you make that time available, I'll get with the council this week and we can have a special meeting and we can go forward. Thank you, Ms. Roberts, for your interest in the city of Bessemer, and thank you for your presentation. Have
Thank
a
you
great
very
day.
much for having us today. I'll look forward to hearing from you.
Yes, ma'am. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Item number 6, Ms. Taylor.
Mr. Evan Brown, Tier 1 program.
I think that was placed on by Councilor Alexander.
Yes, Madam Chair. To Mayor Gully, I know we've talked about tier programs, and I just wanted some more information. So I invited Mr. Brown to share the information with the whole council body so we can all understand what Tier 1 and Tier 2 is, if that's okay.
Mr. Brown, are you on the
yeah.
line?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you all
Well,
for having
good
me.
morning. How are you?
I'm doing good. Good morning. How's everybody?
We're well. We're well.
Good.
Thank you
Well,
for coming.
yes. Well, thank you all for having me, and I'm glad to be able to present this to the city of Bessemer. So what this opportunity is Act 29. It's called Act 2019-132, better known as the Tier 2 conversion. And what this does is it provides the RSA Tier 1 retirement benefit to your Tier 2 employees. Your Tier 2 employees is anybody that was hired after January 1st, 2013, or anybody starting that was hired January 1st, 2013. So those are all your Tier 2 employees. And so, you know, I'm sure if you discuss this with other folks in your leadership, it especially important to your public safety folks. You know, back when they created this Tier 2 system, it indirectly had a major impact on the benefits of your public safety folks. And so this is kind of why this opportunity is provided to Bessemer. And I basically want to start and compare the difference between Tier 1 versus Tier 2. The Tier 1 benefit is that old school RSA benefit that some of you might be familiar with, where you work 25 years, and after 25 years of service, you can retire, and essentially your multiplier, which is 2.0125, and the multiplier is what goes into calculating your pension. It basically means after 25 years of service, you take home roughly 50% of your paycheck. When they created Tier 2, it's a lot less richer benefit. Tier 2, you have to work up until age 62 to receive your pension. That's age 56 now for your public safety folks. And the multiplier, which I said earlier goes into calculating your pension, is a lot less, which means you're going to get a lot less rich benefit. For example, you have a Tier 1 policeman that can work 25 years and then take home their pension. But a Tier 2 employee has to work 36 and a half years to equal what that Tier 1 policeman's pension would be in 25 years. So that's the big difference in it. And so, you know, you have this opportunity in front of you, and you have until the governor signed it 2 years ago, May of 2021. And so, you know, that's the deadline on it. And okay, I'd like to go into the cost next, but if you do have any questions off the bat, I know this is a lot of information to digest. I would like to answer anything you may have.
Counselors, you've received your information. And you did answer my question, the difference between tier 1 and tier 2. And I think if I had not already been retired, I think tier 1 would be what I would go with.
That's right.
Counselor, you've heard Mr. Brown. Are there any questions and or concerns that you would like from Mr. Brown?
Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Brown, we have to have a resolution done on or before May 21.
Yes. Yeah, the governor signed it it's May 8th or May 9th of 2019. And so that's when it has to be in. And if y'all do decide to go forward with this, the benefits for the tier 2 employee would change October 1st of this year.
Okay, that was my next question. Also, I have a question for Mayor Gully. Mayor Gully, I know they said that the street department and the our first responders are under the same umbrella. Would this affect the street department as well?
Yeah, this is one for all. Sorry, go ahead.
Madam President.
Yes, sir, Mayor Gully.
I appreciate that, Mr. Brown. But we've had discussions and stuff on this and stuff as well. As a matter of fact, our finance director is already pulling together the information from her discussion and stuff with RSA regarding and stuff getting together this resolution. Yes, we are aware and stuff that it would affect not only public safety, but all employees that came in after 2013. That's when tier 2 and stuff was instituted. The cost and stuff to the city would be at a cost of $244,000 and stuff per year and stuff to go back to the tier 1 for all. And if you recall, I did discuss those benefits and those differences and stuff with you in a previous meeting. But we do have the Department of Finance working on putting all the information together to present to you all a resolution going back and stuff to tier 1, along with the costs and stuff to the city to go back and stuff to tier 1. And I think I had already and stuff had some discussion with you all, even down to the price relevant and stuff to that. But whatever information you may need, we'll make sure that we make that available and stuff to you. You know, we do thank you, Mr. Brown, for your presentation as well.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Yeah, like the mayor was saying, the cost for y'all to do this for next year is $244,000 and some change. And it's important to note that this cost will be blended into the employer contribution that you make to RSA. You know, some cities make that employer contribution bi-weekly. Some make it monthly. I know some that make it weekly. So it's not going to be a lump sum payment. It will be blended into the overall employer contribution that you make to RSA. And then it's also important to note that there's something in there called an unfunded actual accrued liability, and that's part of the cost to this. And it's amortized over a 15-year period. And the cost to do that for, and essentially what it is it's the reason why you have to pay this cost, the employer does, Bessemer, is because you have to play catch up with that tier 2 benefit in order to make, if y'all go forward with this, in order to make the tier 2 benefit become a tier 1 benefit at the point of retirement. So I call it a catch up essentially, and that will go away after 15 years. And it's important to note that amortization or the unfunded actual accrued liability, the catch up, is $114,000. And so the total cost, like I said earlier, is $244,000. And so after 15 years, that $114,000 will fall off. So the price will go down after 15 years without question. And so I just wanted to point that out as well. And also it's important to note that your tier 2 employees, if y'all do decide to go through with this, they do have a little skin in the game on this. There is a cost for the employer, of course, to offer a richer benefit to your tier 2 employees. But they are right now, your tier 2 employees are paying 6% an employee contribution to RSA. Your public safety folks are paying 7%. They will be increased to 7.5% for your regular employee, and then your public safety employee will be increased to 8.5%. The reason why there's a difference in between the cost of your regular employee and your public safety employee is because the public safety employee also gets something called they basically get 5 extra years added to their years of service at the point of retirement to make their pension bigger. It's kind of something to deal with hazardous duty credit. And that's why they are paying 8.5%. And that's why why your regular employee is paying 7.5%. So needless to say, the tier 2 employee does have a little skin in the game, and they're shouldering a little bit of this burden. And honestly, I haven't met, I don't think I have met one tier 2 employee, once they understand how much richer of a benefit they get from this, especially your public safety folks, that wouldn't be happy to shoulder the cost. And then also from the employer standpoint, it can help with recruitment and retainment of your employees.
Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much for your presentation, Mr. Brown. Okay, as far as in reading, and I see with the tier 1 and tier 2, those are for the active employees. With it being through retirement systems of Alabama, what about our retirees? Are they affected in any form of fashion concerning this?
No, ma'am. They're already locked in. So all of the folks that have retired already are already tier 1 employees for probably 99% of them, unless you hired somebody, with 2013 that didn't get vested or that had already been in the system beforehand. So this has nothing to do with retirees. This has everything to do with active employees, to answer your question.
Problem. I asked the question because I saw it down here, but I guess it was somebody else from retirement systems of Alabama that we need to get in here to speak concerning the benefits of retirees that's being impacted. Thank you so much, Mr. Brown.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am. Counselor Alexander.
I just want to tell Mr. Brown, thank you for your time. Thank you for coming to present to us, and thanks for the literature because it was very informative. Thank you so much.
Well, thank y'all for having me. I've been trying to get and to talk to to y'all in Bessemer for a while, and I'm glad y'all are looking at this very closely. Last thing I want to say, I'm sure y'all do know this. The Birmingham area is very unique in the state of Alabama, where you have so many different competing municipalities. And right now there's a lot of municipalities that have decided to opt in and provide the tier 1 benefit to the tier 2 employee. And, I think it's something that y'all are going to have to consider to go forward with this, that if y'all don't do this, y'all's recruitment, especially on the public safety side, will be a revolving door, and y'all will be hurt because every tier 2 employee is going to want to go work for an entity that has that tier 1 benefit. So I wanted to leave that in y'all's minds before I get off. But thank y'all so much for having me. This was a great opportunity. And I'm glad
yes, sir,
to be
Counselor
part of it.
Matthews.
Madam Chair. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Matter of fact, I haven't heard about tier since I think right before Ken Smith retired from the Alabama League of Municipalities. But we had talked about it in one of our meetings, and one of the focus was your latter statement about the retention and having a revolving door, because if another city has the tier that's more attractive, then of course that that public safety person will look at that and would like to consider going to that municipality that has it. So I think it's a plus for our I guess for our employees, so we can retain them here instead of them getting trained here and going somewhere else to a more attractive package. Thank you so much for your presentation, sir.
Thank you.
Well, Mr. Brown, I think everything has been said. Thank you for the understanding.
Thank y'all.
And
Y'all be
as
good.
Mayor Gully did say, he did make mention of tier 1 and tier 2. But I just think to have you come and break it down to us, that
Sure.
was a plus for the city
Sure.
of Bessemer. Thank you so much, and you have a great day now.
You too. Let me know if there's anything else I can do.
Will do. Have a good one. Item number 7, please.
Mr. William Barnes of Urban League.
Mr. Barnes, are you on the line?
Good morning, Madam President.
Good morning. I think this was placed on by Counselor, is it Alexander? Good morning, Mr. Barnes. How are you?
I'm doing well. About yourself?
I am wonderful. I am wonderful. Counselor Alexander?
Yes, ma'am, Madam Chair. I invited Mr. Barnes just to give an overview of what the Birmingham Urban League does and what it has done in the community as far as Jefferson County and the cutoff. Mr. Barnes, you can go ahead and speak and let them know all the great things that the Urban League does.
Well, thank you, Counselor, and to the Mayor, Madam President, and to all of your colleagues. Thank you so much for the opportunity to just talk with you this morning. So we've been having some conversations. I'll jump right into what's been happening in the pandemic going all the way back to March. And so what I'd like to do today is, one, kind of reintroduce the Urban League to some. It is a 110-year-old organization that really was born out of the idea of helping to support African Americans when we had the great flight from the South with folks heading up north. What we found when they got to the north is that they were faced with the very same oppressive ideas around housing and jobs and economic prosperity with a lot of regressive and racist kind of overtones. And so since that time, the Urban League has continued to work of empowering folks across the community, more particularly African Americans, but certainly people of color. We've expanded that, as well as just the general and underserved. And so it's been our mission to simply empower those communities to be sure that they have economic self-reliance, parity, and civil rights across this nation. A little bit about who we are. So I talked about the fact that we're a 110-year-old organization. We are in approximately 300 communities across the nation, serving more than 2 million individuals on an annual basis, with revenues right at close to $500 million, pumping them back into our communities across the nation. What I wanted to really come to you today and talk about is the programs that we had offered during the pandemic. We were approached by Jefferson County early on during the pandemic to talk about how we keep people in their homes and fight homelessness. It was what I think ended up being a wonderful program. As we know that people of color, most of their wealth is in their homes. And so not only were we paying rent, certainly making sure that utilities were owned as it relates to their power, the water, but also we were working to be sure that folks maintain home ownership of their homes. And so that included our ability to manage mortgages as well as pay those, as well as not only paying them, but also counseling individuals around that space. And so what we find ourselves here is we built up and were able to stand up a program that was the household support program for the county. It started with $150,000 kind of allocation to the Urban League and grew to $2 million. And so we were able to move about $2 million in 11 weeks through the communities that needed it the most. These were the folks that have been hardest impacted by COVID, whether they actually contracted COVID, whether they were laid off and somehow furloughed or reduced hours in their paycheck. And so we've been able to develop wonderful relationship with utility companies, with landlords across the actual footprint. We've helped many citizens there in Bessemer. And so just been very fortunate enough to do that work. Well, what we have coming online now is there is an emergency rental assistance program that I know that not only the city of Bessemer, the city of Birmingham, as well as the county and the state have all received funding to help support the citizens of the area. And I can tell you that it is not for the faint at heart. This is a very hard program to administer. We have had some bumps and bruises early on, but definitely figure and present ourselves as best in class in being able to help the citizens of Bessemer. And so we wanted to just have some conversation, raise our hand, and say to you that we're here to help serve the folks there in Bessemer, and be sure that we're lifting individuals up. One quick note, or a couple of quick notes as it relates to the program that you may or may not be familiar with, more particularly as it relates to around the eligibility. So for the listeners or viewers that may have received benefits from the CARES Act dollars, this is a different set of money. And so with these dollars, they're going to be much more stringent eligibility requirements. It's going to be more along the HUD side of things. You have to have, they're going to be looking at 80% of the average pay in the area and earned. And so there's a lot of criteria and a lot of reporting, but there are a lot of upsides to this program. And I'll wrap up by saying this, and I think this is very important for the citizens there. We can pay up to 12 months in arrears of rental assistance. Not only 12 months in arrears, but we can also pay up to 3 months into the future if you qualify. And if you qualify for that aid, then you can re-up or reestablish an opportunity to move into another 3 months every. It's kind of a recertification, if you will. So this is an excellent program. It will be administered from now until December the 30th. What you as counselors in the mayor's office should really hone in on is that there's a clawback phrase in this spending and these dollars, more particularly as it relates to sometime around September. They're going to want to look at and see how much funds have been dispersed. And so there's a need and a potential for your citizens to receive even more dollars, because what will happen is the government will look at areas that have not spent at least 65% of their funding, and then they're going to reallocate it to other areas. But I want us to be very focused in particular on the fact that we need to spend between now and September 30th, at least 65% of the funding in order to keep that funding. Otherwise, there'll be some clawbacks as it relates to the actual dollars. So thank you. I'll stop here and see if there's any questions that you may have about the program. Thank you all so much for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Barnes. A very good presentation. Counselors, you've heard Mr. Barnes. Are there any questions and or concerns?
Madam President.
Yes, sir, Mayor Gully.
I do have one question for Mr. Barnes, because as all of you are aware, through CDBG funding, that obviously we don't, 350,000 is not going to be a whole lot of stuff of money. And what we're trying and stuff to do is to make sure that that 350,000 is just utilized inside the city of Bessemer for residents of the city and stuff of Bessemer. Now, you know, we do recognize that that Jefferson County has its own funding, but I guess to Mr. Barnes, what kind of mechanism would you have in place to make sure that that funding is just earmarked and utilized for the city of Bessemer?
Thank you, Mayor, for the question. So we have a lot of tools, including a GIS system that both the county has provided, as well as other small municipalities. I'm not sure if you have a GIS department, but we use GIS because we're administering different sets of funding. What you'll find with the Urban League is we'll service the fact that Birmingham has its own set of funding. The county has its separate set of funding. The state has its separate set. And so we've been able to have some sophistication enough to have the tools to be able to break that down. And so what we'll use is the GIS system and separate the allocation of funding. One thing I would like to mention to you, Mayor, is that I know that that you may be, very in tune with the fact of leveraging your funding. And so as we understand it, With the additional funding, we'll probably estimate another 5 to 6 million from the county is what we're looking at to receive from the new program. Those funds, along with the funds that you currently have for Bessemer, can be combined, if you will, to help your citizens. So what I mean is absolutely the $350,000 would only be used for the citizens in Bessemer. It would be used by using the GIS system to understand your zip codes and your area, your city boundaries. But in addition to that, it kind of just makes sense that you have an entity that's also administering some county funding that adds to the value of the citizens that you have there in your area. And so we're just been excited about administering the program and do believe that we have developed some best practices to ensure that we're protecting the assets of Bessemer, but any municipality and any partner we're working with to be sure we've got those boundaries set up.
Mayor Gully, did that answer your question?
Madam President, yes, somewhat. My only concern is I want to make sure and so that there's no commingling of the funds, and at the end of the day, the citizens and stuff of Bessemer and stuff don't get and stuff served, and we end up serving in some other communities, and there's no way and so to quantify whether the citizens of Bessemer received and some funding. That's my only concern.
Thank you, Mayor Gully.
So-
I did get an opportunity, one moment, please. I did get an opportunity to look at the GIS system on yesterday. I think with the zip codes, I think other municipalities need to partner with the Urban League so that if they're not using that system, that they will be using that system, because it really blew my mind as to how they can separate by zip codes and 35020, 35021, and 22. The top of 21 and 22 will be serviced, a portion of 23 if need be. Was that Mr. Matthews? Councilor Matthews, was that you?
No, I hadn't said a word.
That was
Okay,
me.
I'm sorry.
It's no problem. Mayor Gully hit the nail on the head. Our question was similar, well, very much the same as to being able to differentiate the difference between being able to make sure those funds went to the citizens here in the city of Bessemer.
So if I may, Madam President, what we've put into place, again, there's a lot of systems. And one of the additional systems is the county and mayor's office can certainly receive a report either on a quarterly basis or however you see fit that would give you the zip codes, the amount spent, whether it's utilities, whether it's rent, and give you the actual zip codes in the area of where the funding is being dispersed. That's something that we were able to stand up. It's a standard practice, and we would expect no less for you to be able to check the accountability of the funding being spent in that area. And certainly, as a nonprofit that's been around for quite some time, to address Mayor Gully's point, we don't commingle funds. That could really cause major issues with us being a nonprofit status and things of that sort. So we're very acutely aware of that, and certainly want to provide you with the confidence to know that we're able to be able to service the area. But I think the reporting requirement may be helpful to ensure that the councilor and mayor, that you guys are very comfortable with the funding going directly to the citizens of Bessemer and not anyone else. And I think we could demonstrate that fairly easily.
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Oops.
Yes, sir, Councilor Matthews.
Yeah, it's certain things trigger me to chime in, and I've heard several that makes me, and I was thinking, look, and I think whoever is going to be administering any dollars on behalf of the city of Bessemer have some type of tracking record. There needs to be accountability. Okay, not only accountability, but it was something that was said just a moment ago. If when we appropriate these funds, now legal we've heard it several times from legal. Now, how will the council know that these monies are appropriated? It's been saying that the council IP something about the council can't know how addresses and social security number. We're not even really concerned with that. The only thing we're concerned with is that the monies is appropriated fairly and equal across the board, and no double dipping or anything like that. We care less about social security numbers and addresses and names. We want to know how many people were served in the city of Bessemer. That's all we're concerned with. But it seems like it's like pulling an eye tooth to try to get information concerning the funds that we appropriate. And even if we ask one question, you have to go all around the mountain to get an answer. So, but back to the GIS system, I think that's a good tool to use to make sure that it's fairly distributed. And now to that end, I think we need to do what's right by our people and get the money of this resources. Let me say that the resources to them so they can pay a bill or whatever their needs are, so long as it lines up with the resolution that we passed. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
Thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Here we go.
I agree with Council Marshall on the statement that he just made, along with
Councilor Matthews.
What did I say? Marshall. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Council Matthews. I apologize sincerely. Mr. Barnes, my question to you would be, how soon are you able to accommodate these funds, as far as accommodate the citizens here in the city of Bessemer, if these funds were, if you were given this opportunity, and also your location as far as in being accessible to the citizens here in the city of Bessemer?
So the first question, immediately, we are currently wrapping up and closing out the CARES Act dollars. We are fully staffed and continuing to anticipate not only serving the citizens of Bessemer, but other municipalities as well. And so we're uniquely positioned and qualified, and as I stated before, have the staffing up to start the program immediately. I would even go so far as to say is that it really depends on your citizens as it relates to their submitting of the documentation in terms of our ability to be able to get them help and get them paid out, right? So that means that, we can look at our average turnaround time of 48 hours from the time a citizen submits an application. If they provide all the proper requirements, then that can go through our process fairly quickly. Now, I do want to add that as with anything, we had, give you some of our experiences, we had more than 2,000 applications. They were coming in about 300 to 400 per day when the program first launched with the previous dollars. And so it's just like anything else. You call into the bank or you call into your cell phone company, as the volume increases, then your wait time would increase. But fortunately, we have a lot of tools that we've developed to ensure that if, for instance, your water is not turned off, we can talk with Bessemer Utilities, we can do pledges, we can do those things that are necessary to work with the citizens of Bessemer. And so that's the short answer to the question, is that we are ready on day one. We're ready and eager to help. We can start that program immediately. I think what would be required and what we want to do is to be sure we know what you all want to see. And so you do have some control on, what that looks like. We are professionals in the space of being able to provide advisement on what we can and cannot do with the funds and how they're supposed to be used. And so that's pretty much kind of a straightforward of how we plan on being able to move forward with that.
Madam Chair. I'll yield to Mayor Gully.
Madam President. Madam President.
Yes, sir, Mayor Gully.
Mr. Barnes, another quick question that I have. Now, are we speaking, because I heard you make some comments and stuff concerning you can go back 12 months in the rear or 3 months ahead. So are we speaking about just the funding through the federal government that Bessemer has secured? You said something about additional funding that you had and stuff through the county. Can you tell me a little bit more about and stuff that, because all of us know if we're just talking about monies through the federal government and HUD, $350,000 that's earmarked and stuff to up to 1,500 per person and 5,000 and stuff for businesses that qualify for funding is not going to go and stuff very far. But you did mention some additional funding, and I'd like to hear a little bit more about that additional funding that you say that you have that can go along with the funding that the city of Bessemer has.
So Mayor Gullah, let me be sure that we are on the exact same page. I am unaware of your allocation amount. I want to be sure we're talking about the same dollars. It is my understanding that the city of Bessemer received funds for the emergency assistance program that was signed into law a few weeks ago, that is directly to assist for rental assistance. It's not for small businesses. It is specifically for utility and rental assistance. So I want to be sure we're talking about the same dollars. I do think that it was coming through your block grant, but my understanding is that it was specific for that purpose. The additional funding, and so one, we want to try to get some clarity around that. The additional funding that I speak of is that we are now having a conversation and gearing up for an allocation to be received from Jefferson County commissioners. That funding will be able to additionally be used for the citizens in Bessemer. So when we talk about the 350, if that's what your base is, then that will be used for Bessemer. But additionally to that, we're going to be servicing citizens there anyway. We've been doing it since November of last year. And so through the county support, once we get those contracts in place, once that resolution is done, we will then begin to have additional resources above and beyond what it is that the city of Bessemer has received. But I'm very concerned with what you shared in terms of, I think you brought up some small business support and things of that sort. I want to make sure that we're talking about the exact same funding. And just to kind of put you on point, my understanding is that there's certainly a little bit more information that came out about Birmingham. Birmingham's mayor announced that there was 6.3 million that they received specifically for the emergency rental assistance program. And so we want to establish, one, where these dollars are coming from, and again, what the purpose. I fully understand what your concern is in terms of how far that would go, but just know that, again, that's why I mentioned the leveraging thereof. So if you got the 350, if that is what's going to be, your allocation, know that the citizens of Bessemer would also benefit from additional resources that the county is going to put in place as well. So hopefully that clears up, our side of the additional funding sources.
Well, I'm not so sure that we are talking about the exact same funding, because the funding that we're speaking of and stuff now is CDBG funding.
Mm-hmm.
Additional CDBG funding that was allocated specifically by HUD with a specific criteria and stuff that we have to utilize that funding for.
We've been on this item right here.
Mr. Gilbert, will you please mute your device? I'm sorry, Mayor Gurley, go ahead.
No, my point was, I don't know if we are talking about the exact type of funding, because this was additional funding that came through CDBG, through HUD, that was allocated for a specific purpose. And I don't know if we're speaking about the same funding with the same limitations or same criteria.
Yeah, I believe, Mayor Gully, that you, along with your city, the council, have the ability of determining within that criteria how you best want to use the fund. So again, you spoke about, we're talking about rental and utility assistance. If you see fit with the criteria, and I know that's something that you probably want to talk with your team, is that my understanding is it was block grant dollars, but those block grant dollars could be used for rental and utility assistance. And again, that is particularly what we're speaking of here. Now, if there are other things in terms of small business, we certainly can talk about that scope of work. That's something that we certainly have the ability of doing and have done. I think the presentation today was very much more keenly focused on helping your citizens right now to be sure that they didn't lose their homes and to be sure they could keep their water and power on. And so again, if there are other desires and if the criteria around your block grant dollars allow for it, then we certainly can open up and expand that based on your direction and direction of the council. I don't think that there is, if you want to fully use, if it says in there that you can use these funds for small business purposes, then we certainly aren't going to tell you that you can't do it. We are going to tell you that we can service that. And if you're building a criteria around what those purposes are. But I think just for clarity that today's conversation was more focused on rental and utility assistance for the citizens of Bessemer.
Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Barnes, as you know, a lot of people in the city of Bessemer, some of our older residents, citizens in Bessemer, and some of the younger citizens, they don't have vehicles, so they don't have cars to get out. They do a lot of stuff in walking distance. Will your office be able to come up and come out and set up in certain locations to help with this, to help these people? If it was set up in a church or community center, can y'all do something like that? Bring the computers and set up for the people to come to you guys so they won't have to, because a lot of people don't know how to scan or fax and just bring their documents in.
Absolutely, Councilor. Now, I'll say that due to COVID limitations and making sure that our staff is safe as well as the citizens are safe, we would do that based on COVID protocol. We have done that through the pandemic, going out to sites. And what we did in those sites is essentially provided applications. We would love to do that in concert with the city of Bessemer, so that the word is out about particularly what documentation would be needed so that we can try to collect it on site. But I can assure you that we've had a great deal of success of working with folks remotely as well. We've been able to give them the applications physically, and then they were either able to mail those applications back in or drop those applications off or find a way, with a cell phone device. But it's an all above approach. That's a long-winded answer to say it is an all the above approach, with the exception of, depending on what our COVID numbers look like, we continue to look at that. We have 3 different stages for our agency that we follow, which is a red, green, and yellow, which determines what level of engagement that we actually would engage the public with. And so depending on those numbers, that would be the only deterrent with potentially coming out. But otherwise, we certainly can set up on site. We can get the applications to those that aren't able to get to us. And then hopefully there's enough of a word that gets out, enough of a lead time to whatever information that's required, that they have that when they come. So there's a completed packet. And so then what we would do is, it wouldn't be an on-site approval. We would then take those packets, bring them back to the office, assign them to a case manager, and then work the process from there.
Madam President.
Councilor Collier.
Good morning, Mr. Burns.
Good morning.
A few quick questions. Doesn't have anything to do with that CDBG fund. The emergency rent program that you're speaking about.
Yes, sir.
You say you've been servicing investment since last year, November?
Since November.
Okay. Do you know or guesstimate about how many people will serve in the city of Bessemer? And the people who, 2-part question, and the people who haven't received the information, how can we get it out to them a little bit better?
So I don't have a number in front of me. I can tell you that with our experience with the GIS system and reporting out on the county, there were several Bessemer area residents that were served. I do not have a specific number. If I gave you my best estimate, because I just actually looked at the final report from the CARES Act dollars about 2 days ago, I'd probably say at least 10 to 15% of the folks that we serve came out of the Bessemer area. As the word got out, more and more folks were then engaging us and providing applications. I could certainly get you a report on that. Now, your second question in regards to getting the word out, that's what we were sharing. So that program is essentially closing out. You know, there was $2 million there. We've closed that program out. It was the CARES Act dollars. Now the government is pretty much now administering or moving forward with the emergency rental assistance program. We anticipate that this program would come online over the next 3 weeks. And so, you know, that's something that we would make ourselves available. We have a plan of action of how we can get the word out, but we certainly want your input. We want the input of the administration, and we need your resources in order to be sure that the word is getting out to the citizens. We can use media, but you know, again, it's a great word of mouth. It's media. It is a combined effort to be sure folks are aware of what resources are certainly available. I know that Jefferson County did a big media push with the previous funding. It was, you know, from the Birmingham Business Journal to I think there were flyers put out to a lot of social media. Most of it was probably done during social media. And so we're very open to different ways that you may be able to communicate with your citizens and how we may be able to communicate with the citizens to be sure we're getting the word out.
Okay.
And I will add that there's potential that a small portion of the dollars could be used for administrative purposes that could potentially be to help get the word out. So that is also a part of potentially how we could get the funds and then get the word out to help the folks there.
Okay. When you said 10% of the people that were served, what number was that out of the 10%?
I'm sorry.
You said 10% of the people in Bessemer were served out of.
Yeah, about 10 to 15%. And again, I can get you some hard numbers. We service if you're looking for an overall number, I want to say we serviced about 650 to 700 households through that $2 million. To give you an example of some additional information, our experience is that the rental and utility assistance per household was averaging right around $2,400 to $2,700 per household. So that'll help you determine just how far your resources should go. That's a pretty solid. We've done a lot of research and development around that and feel very comfortable that that's going to be the average of your household assistance. And so then your financial gurus and whatnot can then do some quick math around how many households that could potentially support and how far the dollars would go in that regard.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Councilor Collier.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
Yes. And what brings me to this is this question concerning. I think Mr. Barnes said something about pledge notifications. So when you're talking about a pledge, that does that mean that it has been awarded to?
Clearly, Counselor, it is a tool that we found necessary to use in order to stay the account. So what do we mean by that? In other words, again, there's a heavy burden on residents to provide the necessary documentation to make them eligible. What we would do is do a kind of a pre-clearance. We look at your documents, we get your story, and make a best guess estimate of whether or not you are eligible to qualify. Okay. If we feel very comfortable that you're eligible, and many of the residents are coming with already either eviction notices, or more particularly, you talk about the pledges, they're coming with a notice to turn their utilities off. Well, we want to act very quickly to stay the account. And so if we go in and we make a pledge, then that gives us time enough to work through the file, gives us about 30 days to work through the file all the way through issuing of a check. And so I think it's a very good tool that we found necessary to use because we had a lot of folks that, they would come to us, they had a disconnect notice, and we were working the file, but in the interim, then the utilities companies were turning their utilities off. And so that's really what the pledge tool would be used for. It doesn't mean that, it's a pretty good indication, but it doesn't mean that you actually ultimately get approved for the program.
Right, right. It's a state. I understand. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to make sure that that got out the way, the way that it is, opposed to, yeah, the way that it is, opposed to someone saying, well, I have a pledge here, a letter here that I'm going. Well, you can't, you can't interrupt me. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Understood.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you for helping us with that, because we do want to
Yeah,
be sure.
I just want, because I'm kind of familiar with that in a sense. Well, now your presentation today, because clearly we have two items that we're going to discuss in a little while, and I don't know if you may or may not know, but it's no secret.
He doesn't.
We have, ma'am.
He doesn't.
Your presentation today is for future monies, future resources, allocations that come down that the Urban League would be considered. Is that what I'm hearing, Madam President?
No, sir, that is not my understanding. My
What is
understanding is that we will listen to the Urban League we listened to the Salvation Army on last week. We will listen to both of them, and we will come to a mutual consensus as to who we are going to award the funding to for the rental and rental assistant, bill paying and rental assistant.
Okay, thank you. That clears me up. Thank you.
I would ask this council, thank you, Mr. Barnes, for all of your help. And you've answered a number of questions. Thank you, counselors. You've answered a number of questions that I did not get to ask, but our council asked them. And thank you, Mr. Barnes, for clearing up a lot of what was not asked. Let me say that.
Madam Chair, Mr. Blank. Madam Chair, I just want to let you know that Mr. Blankenship is available now whenever you get ready for him. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
I would ask this body to let us table item 13 and 14, and let us discuss not only the Urban League, the Salvation Army, and Create Birmingham. And let us, as many of our counselors say, do what is best for the city of Bessemer. I would ask this body if there was a consensus to table 13 and 14, have a call meeting, and we can come to a consensus as to who this city wanted to grant those fundings to.
Madam President.
Yes, sir, Councilor Collier.
Yes, ma'am. Since I know we talked about it last week, we talked about in this kind of rush situation, we Create Birmingham and Salvation Army. And since they're here and we wanted them to speak from last week, I would ask the entire council.
Well, they did speak last week.
No, ma'am, they were kind of rushed. They did
speak last week.
They were kind of rushed, ma'am. I would ask,
they spoke on last week.
I would ask the council to give them the opportunity to, to have the opportunity, as well as, the Urban League had to speak.
Thank you.
Give them the opportunity.
Thank you, Councilor Collier. I would ask this body to please let us call a call meeting, and instead of making a haste decision here this morning, let us table 13 and 14, and let us have a call meeting and discuss where we will go from here, if that is the consensus of this body.
Yes, ma'am.
Madam President.
Madam President, I disagree.
Yes, sir, Councilor Collier. Yes, sir, Mayor Gully.
I understand and stuff that everybody sometimes have their preferences, but each one of the entities on last week was given 3 minutes versus 35 minutes, and so today, I hardly think that that's unfair. I hardly think that that's fair, and so to all organizations, and so that we're given only 3 minutes. Now, I see no need if this body already knows and so what they want and so to do, to drag out and so this because we're only dragging out hurting the citizens of Bessemer when we can already have the program instituted and serving and serve people. I think by virtue of 3 minutes versus 35 minutes, that and so the decision and stuff really has already been made, and so who and so this body wants and stuff to go with. So why prolong this?
Mayor Gurley, I have to disagree with you. I did ask this body, let us have a meeting. The Salvation Army, as well as Create Birmingham, can come back and make a presentation. We've already heard them. And if I had not been so rudely interrupted, I would have completed what I was going to say. We can have a meeting just on this, and there will be no other questions except for this. I would love to have a meeting and get an understanding. And no, I don't see that we're hurting the citizens by not making a haste decision. We're hurting the citizens by not getting the best for the citizens within our purview. That is what I see, Mayor Gully and Councilor Collier. If there, we can have I can call I can call a special meeting at any time this week and or the top of next week. The Urban League, Salvation Army, and Create Birmingham are more than welcome to come back and make a presentation. We've already heard the Urban League. The Salvation Army and Create Birmingham are more than welcome to come back, because I'm quite sure there are some questions, and there are some questions that we need to ask the Salvation Army and Create Birmingham. So you're right, they were rushed for 3 minutes on last week because it wasn't a planning session. It was a council meeting. But if we call a special meeting, they have the time that they need to explain, as the Urban League and Mr. Barnes did this morning. Is that a consensus of this body?
Madam President.
Go ahead.
You yielding to me, Councilman Matthews? Or?
Well, yeah, you can go ahead. I'll
I-
wait till after you finish. I'll wait.
Okay.
Councilor Collier.
Madam President, let me.
Collier, since they are on the agenda, they are on the agenda.
They are.
We'll hear from them today. Councilor Collier. We'll hear from them today since they are on the agenda. Thank you so much, Councilor Collier. Item number 8, please. Thank you, Mr. Barnes, for your presentation.
Thank you. Thank you all. Have a great day.
You do the same now. Item number 8, please.
Bob Sykes Barbecue and Blues Festival.
Are they on the line?
Yes. Good morning, Mayor
Good
Gold,
morning.
City Council.
How are you?
Good, thank you. Thank you for having me. Okay, I'm Elaine Lyda. I'm the PR agent, event planner here in Birmingham. And Bob Sykes Barbecue is my client for about 13 years now. And we are now in the middle of planning the 11th annual Bob Sykes Barbecue and Blues Festival. Of course, we've had to reschedule it. This is our 3rd time, so hopefully, prayerfully, 3rd time's the charm. We've been approved from the Jefferson County Department of Health to move forward with it from the Environmental Health Program Supervisor. And moving forward, I'm working in close contact with them about what we are doing, our plan moving forward. And so they're very aware of the CDC guidelines, and they've enforced these following guidelines. And y'all all received a copy, right? Just some bullet points, some brief ones. Of course, with Jefferson County, we've got more details with them, but pretty much in a nutshell, to enter the festival, we're going to be asking everyone to wear a mask. Masks will be required at all 3 entrances. And if they don't have a mask, we'll provide them. And we'll have enhanced sanitation stations, including sinks, soap, and hand sanitizers throughout the event. We've always done that in the past, but now we'll have plenty more. I've already got them scheduled. And then, of course, the 6 feet, the social distancing, we'll be promoting that with physical guides and signs and announcements from the stage constantly, just, telling people to stay 6 feet apart from people of another household. And, with the ticket sales, we'll make sure we put that on the thing. If someone's tested positive, they'd get a full refund because we've had a history of no refunds. But, with that, of course, we will give them a refund back. And then moving forward with the festival workers, we've always had employees cleaning and disinfecting tables, but we'll have more of a schedule, more tighter schedule of cleaning and disinfecting once people, from eating to just different processes of the event. And then the music performances, everything's still on schedule from 2020. No one's backed out. We still have Grammy Award winner blues legend Bobby Rush performing, which we're so excited about. And then you can go to our website. We always bring in national blues musicians along with local. And we have Robert Kimbrough, Senior Blues Connection, Tolly Bray. And of course, we have local favorites, Hurricane Elaine and the Force of Nature, Yarbrough and Company, Tara Sabri and the Seduction Band, and NJ Spites, who's a 16-year-old kid from here in Alabama. So that's right on schedule. And then, of course, as we say every year, the success of the festival depends on our sponsors, from the businesses who participate to promote their brand and company. And since we scheduled it 2020, not one of my sponsors or vendors actually backed out. They all stayed on board, and the vendors have been signing up to sell their tempting offers. So that's very refreshing that, people are ready to move forward in a safe way to bring some brightness to this pandemic, of doing it in a smart way. And then, of course, as in the years past, we've always done a wide range of media. And it's a positive media thing for the city of Bessemer. And, we're going to be doing what we've always done in the past. We're working real close with Summit Media. They're our radio sponsor, and they'll be doing the radio spots. That's kicking off March 1st. And then Pepsi's our big sponsor, and they provide the television spots and the billboards and of course our social media. So we'll be pushing it through that. And then the positive thing about this as well over the years that the festival has provided incremental revenue to the city from the park standpoint, the permit fees, the vendor license, and the sales, and giving back to the city of police, the Bessemer Police. They do such a great job. And, from the festival goers spending inside the community with lodging and the gas and the shopping. So we feel like that's a positive thing. And then at the end of the day, after everything's been paid for, Bob Sykes always gives a portion of the proceeds back to local charity. And this year we've chosen Caring Men and Caring Women that, I don't know if you're familiar with them, but you can go on their website, but they're mentors for young, boys and girls in the community. So they got some plans moving forward. We can give them some money to help them with their projects. And then of course you can go on our website, these are all the charities that we've helped in the past. That's what it's about, really. It's just giving back to the community and giving the city of Bessemer a positive image. And at the same time, just having, bringing this back to life, this festival. And then, so that's pretty much the event in a nutshell. And of course, with the CDC guidelines, we'll be promoting it nonstop on all media, social media, to let people know ahead of time what we're doing. And it's on every aspect of the promotional part of it. And does anyone have any questions about the event itself before I move forward on the sponsorship? Because in the years
Yes,
past,
ma'am, I do.
yes.
Council Matthews.
Councilor Matthews.
Yeah. Now I've supported this festival throughout the years that it's been here, but at the same time, we still, in my opinion, is in a well, ain't no opinion. We're still in a pandemic, right? And for Super Bowl, it was talking, and I don't know where we're going to be doing at the date of the festival, but at the same time, safety is paramount, and I'm still leery about a lot of things that I do. And I know you can say social distance. Well, right now we have people walking in stores don't even have on masks. We have people that work in stores and don't even have masks on. and I'm worried about super spreaders. I am. And I'm very familiar with caring men and women. Okay, that organization. Matter of fact, several of them are my church members. Okay, and I respectfully say, our success really depends on COVID-19, in my opinion. Now we have our Civic Center closed. We have the Park and Rec closed. We have all these venues closed in the city of Bessemer, and I'm trying to see how can we honestly
Justify.
honestly have put the festival before some of our own venues that we have not opened yet because of COVID-19. So I'm and how are you going to I guess enforcing the social distance when there are possibly someone maybe had a drink or so, I'm just using these for an example. So it's so many variables here. I've had next door neighbors to pass. Okay. I had close friends to pass, constituents to pass. But to come and people are trying to get vaccinated right now. So I'm trying to open my mind up around how we're going to do a festival when and some things I haven't even mentioned, don't get me wrong, but I'm trying to see how we're going to do this in a safe manner at this particular time.
Okay.
I can't, Elena, I'm just baffled by the presentation and some of the things that I've heard. And if you can, it's no, I don't know.
I totally
I'm gonna let somebody else talk, but
we are not taking this lightly.
Let me finish.
Oh, sorry.
That's just as 6 and 6 now. I don't know how nobody else feel about it, but I'm just saying for me in this pandemic that we're in, how can we as a city move forward when we are still don't have the amenities that we had prior to COVID-19? And I'm finished. Okay.
Totally respect that. And we are taking it very seriously, and it's affected all of us. I mean, this pandemic is nothing to take lightly. We've all lost loved ones and we're all taking it seriously, but moving forward, we have to move forward in life. I mean, now the vaccination's coming out. I mean, I've got kids that work at the hospital and, they've all got their vaccinations and it's happening and it's a blessing. And it's going to get better. I mean, events are starting to happen and, the BJCC's back open. The World of Wills is happening this weekend. And, yes, we will go into this not taking it lightly. I mean, we're going to respect, everyone that's coming out is going to be going, okay, I'm going to take this seriously. And then we're going to be enforcing it. And if they know that we're the events of enforcing it, they're going to not have a choice. And some people might go, I don't want to wear a mask. I'm not going. And that's fine. And that's why we're going to have the city of police, they're going to be our backup system too, as our workers, we're going to be enforcing it with them. And I can even limit the number of tickets sold to the event. Because I could put a maximum number of how many event tickets are sold. And then we don't even have to sell tickets the day of the event. There's all kinds of ways to limit the capacity. But I understand what you're saying. The good thing about it is an outdoor event. It's a rain or shine event. For the musicians not to back out, Bobby Rush is 87 years old. I mean, he's been affected by COVID. He's had it. And my point is, we're all going to die. I mean, this is all serious stuff. We're all living to die, right? But it's a point of, okay, I trust the government. I trust the vaccines. I trust what's happening. And if we don't trust, how can we move forward and just, okay, like the Greek festival, we got that planned for October. And it's totally, we're changing that around too as we speak, because that was an indoor festival. So we're making it more outdoor festival. But everything that we've done at the Bob Sykes Festival has always been the food has always been brought from the restaurant to the festival. So, the Jefferson County Health Department's all about that. That's what we've always done. That's safe. But I mean, really, with the CDC guidelines, they're promoting. I mean, she said, I've been talking real closely with Janice Covington. She's the environmental health program supervisor, and she goes, "Oh yes, events are happening now. They're coming to life." And I said, "Well, what are the capacity of people?" And she goes, "There's no numbers. We're not putting numbers on them," which I thought was surprising. Which I am going to put a number of this on this festival. I don't want it to be, I'm going to put a cap on it. Because that park is big, and that cap's going to include the sponsors and the vendors, and we're going to keep it tight on that part of it. And then, it's all about hygiene. If you wash your hands and you social distance, I mean, there's not going to be a place where you're not going to see sinking waters and sanitizers. I mean, I'm ordering a ton of it, and I have a feeling a lot of our sponsors are going to be giving away a ton of it too. So it's going to be that kind of moving forward with it. And the stage is far enough from the crowd where we will be, that's not going to be an issue with the music and all that. But I agree what you're saying. And we're all, scared of, moving forward, but when is it going to happen? Before you know, it's going to be December again. And we're going to be like, well, it's cold now. We better be careful. I mean, we have to, essential businesses, restaurants, and we have to keep supporting each other and events too. And these vendors, I mean, this is what they count their business on. I mean, if it wasn't for events, they would not be able to pay their power bill. They don't want handouts. They want to work. And I've got these vendors going, we need to work. And they've got events lined up all around the clock. So I don't know. I hear what you're saying. I respect it. But at the same time, I just, we put a lot of thoughts into this, and we've rescheduled it. I mean, I knew September wasn't going to happen. I just put that date out there, and I canceled that immediately. But April, I feel pretty good about with the vaccinations coming out. And, we would love to have your support on this.
Are you done, Ms. Elaine?
Hi, Cynthia. How you doing?
Elaine, are you finished?
Well, no, actually, I haven't gotten to the sponsorship partnership yet.
Okay, go ahead, Elaine. Let my counselors know. I'm having a few problems again with my internet connection.
Okay.
If I go off, I'll come back. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead, Elaine.
Okay. So moving forward, as we were saying, Bob Sykes Barbecue, we really depend on our sponsors. Everything that we've got scheduled so far, they've helped pay for our staging and our bands, and we couldn't do it without them. And so moving forward, we're asking the city of Bessemer to be again our presenting sponsor, as in the years past. And nothing's going to change. I'm going to continue to include the city of Bessemer in all the press releases, and all of it will be city of Bessemer presents the festival, and you'll be included in all the television and radio interviews. And I've got JJ scheduled to come out to the park again. If you watch WBRC, I mean, he's busy. JJ's an essential worker. He's always out and about promoting events, and he's on our side. And this is just a time to just get it out there, and you'll be included in that, and the signage. And I'm about to kick everything off here very soon on the signage, and then of course the social media. We have over 50,000 followers, and like I said, it's all about everything that we post is going to be CDC guidelines followed. So, and it could change. After March 5th, after Governor Ivy, I mean, she might. I don't know what's going to happen, but right now we're going to use what we've got in place of what she's saying is allowed. Of course, we'll be promoting the event on their website, and you'll be included in all the email blast campaigns. And then, of course, at the on-site event, y'all are included as well. City of Bessemer could get a 20 by 20 spot promoting whatever, everything I've heard today, whatever y'all want to get out there to the public. And as in the years past, we've always given y'all t-shirts, and you'll be included in the stage announcements. Summit Media is going to be there broadcasting on stage, and they'll be constantly enforcing, the 3 W's, as we say, watch, wash, and watch your distance, right? So And then of course we'll have the VIP stage tent again, and that's going to be a lot scaled back, but you'll have complimentary food and drinks again. And then the Western Star is always our partner. They do a festival program, and you'll be included in that. And that goes out to the city and at the festival. And, the proposal for the city of Bessemer, Bob Sykes Barbecue, we're asking y'all to do what we've done in the past, to provide the funding for the fencing around the park, the street barricades, and the police security. And in that price, that includes the chain link fencing that is set up the day before the festival, and it's broken down at that night at 9 p.m. On the 24th. And then also includes the 50 sections of bike racks, so to close in the streets that morning. And with that price includes the overnight police security, and of course the day of security. And then the Bessemer city workers, they've always been a huge help emptying the trash into the large morgue containers outside the festival. So it's always run very smoothly. Thank God for the city of Bessemer police. I mean, it's just a good run festival, and that's all we can, moving forward. I think people know that it's a good run festival, and the crowd that comes is they're so good. And I just think they're going to be so good at following the rules as well. And we will enforce them. And we do hope that y'all will be on our side again to have the event at the Bartolabin Park and to be our presenting sponsor. And one last thing, Van Sykes was not able to be here today due to some he's on medical leave right now, but he does send his well wishes. And again, thank y'all for listening, and I'd love to answer any questions.
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, I yield to you, Alexander.
Yes, Ms. Elaine. If the city of Bessemer don't sponsor this, will Bob Sykes still be able to have this booze and barbecue without the sponsorship of the city of Bessemer? And have you looked into other municipalities to help sponsor this if the city of Bessemer cannot sponsor this?
Okay, so to answer your first question, to look at if y'all did not give us the sponsorship money, this is a Bob Sykes brainstorm. Van had this idea 11 years ago, and the only way we've ever done this event was from our sponsors. If you're looking to make money to put on an event, good luck. We never make money. If you come out even, it's a success. If you can write a check to charity, it's a huge success. So every year we've been able to do that, but it's about the exposure and getting the name out. So to answer your question, we would have to go out and search for other sponsors to put that money out there, because Bob Sykes, that's a lot of money for him to just write a check for all that, but we'll do what we have to do. And then the reason, do you have to have a fence? We've said that, but yeah, you have to have a fence at that park, because if not, it's going to be a super spreader. It'll be crazy. You have to control the crowd. And then to move the event, the reason we had it at Tannehill the first year, and Van second year goes, why are we doing it there? I want it to be in Bessemer. This is where my business has been since 1960. He's been in business since 1957, but he moved in Bessemer in 1967. And he says, if it wasn't for Bessemer, I wouldn't be where I am today. So he wanted to do this for the city. And that's why we moved it to the park. And that's why the partnership has been so beautiful, to show people that have never been to Bessemer, because we have people come from all over for this festival. And it's really beautiful to see them go, God, this place is really nice. So yes, if we have to move into a different venue, I've got to get the wheels rolling quick. And we've looked into that in the years past. And, nothing's impossible, but our heart is in Bessemer. Everything we know is there. The police, we know it's just a perfect fit. But, so that, I hope that answers your question. I know it's kind of vague, but to answer your question,
it did answer my question, because I'm still worried about COVID-19, being that I am a healthcare professional, and we haven't even got the vaccinations out to our elderly, let alone the citizens of Bessemer, unless they were a healthcare provider or a first responder. So we haven't even started to vaccinate the people in the communities yet. So that's my big concern.
Well, I understand. And I've even talked to Janice about why can't we be a locations? I know it's all about locations, and they're opening up all these large venues now to have. We got the vaccinations as a part of. I mean, I have a son and daughter-in-law that work at UAB, and they're a surgeon and a nurse anesthetist, and they say we've got it. It's just the point of finding a venue. That's why Hoover Med is opened. And I even told them, if we want to make the festival a venue for vaccination, let's do it. I mean, you know, if that's the problem. But I understand where you're coming from. I mean, the issue is the location. We need a venue to hold vaccinations. And, you know, thankfully, I heard today they are moving it up a notch. You know, now teachers are able to get it. You know, healthcare professionals, pretty much everyone's got it, you know, a lot of them that have been asked to. A lot of people don't want it, you know.
I don't want it because it's not FDA approved, neither one. It's not FDA approved and it has been rushed. So yeah, I'm not receiving the vaccine.
I respect your opinion, but I mean, I know people on both sides that have had it and haven't, and that's another conversation for another day. But it's out there, and you know, we just have to trust. We have to have trust and faith that it's going to. I mean, I'm hesitant too. Trust me, I don't. You know, I haven't had it yet, but a lot of people I know have, and they didn't want it, but they just like, you know, I don't want to be locked up forever. That's everybody's just at that point of just desperation, you know, everybody's scared, but it's just, it's very complicated. I totally respect it and get it. I mean, I don't even like the flu shot, but I get it, you know, but this is something serious and I understand and I respect it. But at the same time, you know, we just have to, you know, move forward and just, you know, yesterday we planned on having the Greek festival outside, and I've been to many festivals since COVID. You know, a lot of churches have had outdoor festivals, but you know, it's that's my thought pattern. You know, we have to have normalcy again, and music. I don't know about you, but music is very healthy for the soul, and, you know, we'll be monitoring it. You know, that's why the City of Bessemer Police, if we see people out of line dancing without a mask, we'll be sure to control it. I mean, I'm the festival police person. I mean, you know, I am just all eyes out there. This is our baby. Like, this has our name on it. And we have to take it very seriously. And but like I said, in the years past, it's been very controlled. And I don't know if any of you have ever attended, but, you know, there's a lot of space out there to space out. And the minute they start piling in, you know, we will be out there monitoring them. We'll be like, you know, you need to keep your distance. And if you get up to dance, you could do it, but put your mask on. If you get up to go walk to the food tent, put your mask on. So we're doing everything that there is to do. It's like going to the grocery store. And we haven't stopped going to the grocery store or going to the gas station. You know, I haven't stopped going out to eat. You know, I have to keep living. And
thank you. Any other counselors?
Madam Chair.
Counselor Alexander? Counselor Crusoe?
Thank you so much, Ms. Elaine, for that presentation. I concur with both of the previous counselors' statements, Counselor Matthews and Counselor Alexander. Yeah, I think it's a bit appalling for us to even be so much as entertaining, you know, the conversation or the discussion of possible sponsorship in the middle of a pandemic. And I'm gonna be quite frank with you, Ms. Elaine. I wish that Mr. Sykes you know, was here so he could hear the same. The first year after the election that the same sponsorship paperwork was presented to the council, I followed everyone else's lead because of the different things that Bob Sykes said concerning doing what they've done in the city and what they do in the city of Bessemer, along with the fact that my mother worked there for over a decade. You know, I really believed in Bob Sykes, but it wasn't until I passed by and saw our Little League football teams standing on the sides of the roads, asking for money in order to make it to their national championship games, or even personally calling Mr. Sykes and asking for Gatorade, Powerade to assist with our local football team. I'm not saying down in the next county, I'm saying here in the city of Bessemer, where he operates a lucrative business. And to not be able to donate a Gatorade, a Powerade, or assist with our kids being able to make it to the national championships, I have a problem with that.
Well, who was the team? Who was the team? He
Councilman.
gives all the time. No, this is good. I like to know. Yeah, okay.
That's
Okay.
that's
It's
for
the
another,
city of Bessemer. I mean, the
Right.
names changed,
For
you know,
another,
throughout the years. But since in the last 2 years, the local Bessemer football league, little leagues.
Football league, okay, because we give a lot, and I would love to know, because maybe it was a miscommunication breakdown. Maybe they emailed us on Facebook.
No.
Call.
Oh, well, I would love to know the name of that person and phone number, because I'm just gonna say.
Latricia Crusoe, that's my name. I called.
Oh, you
My
called.
call was
Okay.
never returned.
Okay.
I called as well.
Okay, well,
Yes,
let me
ma'am.
explain. Did you call the rest? Because that's why they have me, because when you're on a restaurant and you're going every direction, you have to ask for someone that's not working there and trying to cater for 300, it's nonstop. And I apologize, but that's why I'm there. And next time, please reach out to me, because we're constantly giving back. And you have to ask the right people. Jason Jewell.
I know all of my mother. I told you my mother worked there
Who's your
almost
mom?
50. Dorothy Crusoe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I mean, I know the family very well.
Yes.
I knew exactly who to ask for. And not only did I call, I've been there.
Okay, well,
but nevertheless, I mean, that's not important either here or there. I just feel like with this Bob Sykes being in such a lucrative business, it's not too many times besides this pandemic that I passed by Bob Sykes and the line is not wrapped around the building. So to be coming back before the city of Bessemer asking for this amount of money, and I mean, I'm not knocking anyone else who supports this idea. From the experience that I've had, I'm gonna be honest with you, since not being able to get the love to be shown to our kids here in the city of Bessemer, I haven't been back to Bob Sykes myself. And I used to come all the time to get the small in with a little red pepper and the red velvet cake. I haven't been back.
I'm sorry to hear that.
One thing about me, I'm going to tell you the truth. And another thing that we need to take in consideration, I mean, as kind of piggybacking off of what Councilor Matthews said, and also with the statement that you said, as far as that we all living to die. No, I'm not living to die. Right now, I'm living to live.
Oh,
and
amen.
I'm sure that that's the same echo that I hear from a lot of the citizens here in the city of Bessemer. And I refuse to sit and vote to help make this a hot spot or a COVID haven for the citizens here in the city of Bessemer. And as far as with the cleanliness, it's not so much. I know they keep saying wash your hands, but we have to also take in consideration that COVID is not, it's been some of the most clean, quote unquote, people that have been diagnosed with COVID. You can't wash your hands enough. You can't keep your hands out of your face enough. You can't not rub your eyes or your nose enough to not get COVID. COVID is not a clean issue. It's more of a social instance. And if we're going to sit and facilitate a crowd, then we're shooting ourselves in the foot concerning this issue. So I mean, it's much more that I could possibly say concerning that, but I'll stop at that. Thank you so much again, Ms. Elaine.
Well, thank you. And I had COVID. My husband had COVID. We all survived from it. A lot of people haven't. I mean, I get it. It's serious stuff. And and first of all, I want to apologize for your softball team, and I'm not apologizing for Bob Sykes Barbecue having lines around the building, because as you know, your mom, your aunt, they worked hard, and those employees work hard, and Bob Sykes gives it back to his employees and gives it back to the community when asked. And I don't think he should be punished because he's doing the right thing by doing what he's done since 1957 by working hard. He's had employees there for 40 years. Miss that just passed away this year. I mean,
yes, Miss Betty. Yeah, Miss Betty, who passed. I know Miss Betty as well, who passed away.
They're the ones that raised man. I mean, my point is like So
Let
that's
us get back, let us
different-
get back to the business at
Yes.
Ms. Elaine.
Yes.
Let us get back to the business at hand right now.
Yes.
And that's having the blues and barbecue in the park.
Yes.
Any other counselor wants to speak?
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
Madam Chair. Well,
Which,
and I know we were talking about outdoors and well, they canceled Mardi Gras too. So, and I know that's something that's upon us, and that's some of that is outdoors. So, and this is nothing personal. Matter of fact,
no.
I'm not. Where my video? Turn myself back on. Okay. It's not personal at all. It's all about safety, and you know, I'm on hush because some other council members may or may not want to talk, but I just think what I said is that's just it. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Counselor.
Thank you,
Counselor
Lane.
Matthews.
Thank you.
I think I heard, I saw Counselor Colley.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
I agree with some of the comments that were made by the other council people. COVID is a very, very serious situation that we have. We council in the city of Bessemer, we did, other things that other cities didn't do. When other cities decided they didn't close up, hey, we closed up, and we about keeping our citizens safe. I would ask, council, mayor, you can check your schedule, that we go and sit down, because not only Bob Sykes, as Council Matthews said earlier, you got other people that want to come into the park area. So, if you open it up for one, you got to do it for all. So I think we need to, consider, exactly what we going to do moving forward, if we're going to do it, or if we're not going to do it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair. Madam President.
Good morning. How are you? My first time hearing you. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I've tried several times. I just haven't been able to be heard.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
That's okay. I agree. I think, Elaine, I think fall might be a better choice this time, than last year. Obviously, it wasn't going to work. I think we'll be in a better position this fall. I did get my first shot yesterday of the vaccine, and I'm happy to have it. With the new grandbaby coming in June or the 1st of July, I want to make sure that I'm not going to get it, and hopefully I won't be a carrier. But I haven't returned to church. I'm still watching online, having small group online. I'm still not ready to get out there. I go to the grocery store. I go out to eat, small groups, small gatherings. But I'm not ready to be in a large gathering yet. I feel like outside you probably could social distance enough, but there's no guarantee. And the VIP tent and the musicians around each other, it's just it's kind of tough decision to make. But I think we would be happier if we're looking at the fall instead of in 2 months.
Okay. Thank you, Donna. Yeah, I mean, the good thing about the festival, everything is spread out. Like the musicians go through a different entrance and they're blocked off from everyone. And Elizabeth, the law office, she's definitely said, yes, you're more than welcome to use our area again, like always. And so that's separate. And then the hospitality tent is open. And like I said, we're going to keep that very limited, like only so many people in there, and it's outdoor tables, and so that would be very tight. And then everything else is just open space. The food tent is open, and we'll be having those little social distance lines going through, and it's just, and we're not, the festival goers aren't touching anything. Like everybody that's selling them something, they're giving it to them. The vendors, the restaurant people, the drinks, everything's given. So, of course, our people, the vendors, the workers, be wearing gloves, and, they have to keep changing the gloves out, that kind of thing. So, and then, the workers will be wearing masks the entire time with, all sponsors and the vendors. And, UAB Medical West, they're our big sponsor, and, they're 100% on board. They're going to be doing they're deciding what they're going to be doing out there. But, they're always our partner. And so they'll be on board with that.
Everybody, we thank all of your partners and all of your sponsors. But I don't, and this is just personally, Cynthia Donald, I preach safety, and safety is first when it comes to my family, the daycare center, and most certainly the citizens of the city of Bessemer. I would agree with each of the counselors that we look at maybe the fall, because right now is not a time looking at our numbers and looking at where the vaccination and where they are and with vaccinating and in different parts of the city. I don't think that Bessemer right now is ready to open up we can say that we're going to social distance, but that does not mean that we're going to do it. I don't think we've done the square footage in that park to know how many we can have in that park at a 6 feet social distance. And my personal opinion, I would have to say, let us do this. And I agree with each counselor. Let us do this in the fall so that we won't put anyone in danger, ourselves, you, nor your employees or the citizens that come in from any other city or state, nor the citizens of the city of Bessemer. I would rather us be safe than sorry. And that's just my opinion. And you've heard the other counselors' opinion. Thank you so much, Elaine, for coming in.
Well, thank you for having me. I do have one question. So with that said, for the fall, that means no sponsorship until the fall possibly, but let's just say the park's not even up for rent. Is that what y'all are saying too?
No, the parks are not even open. Our children had to go to the YMCA or YWCA to practice. And they practice their social distancing. They practice maybe half of the team this time and half of the team. No, the parks are not even open for rental.
Okay, so in April, it will not be open for rental.
Not to my knowledge, not unless we hear something or see something different with the numbers here in the city of Bessemer.
Okay, so when would y'all know that, you think?
Well, as soon as we know, I guarantee you will know.
Okay.
As soon as we know.
My question is, let's just say it's February now, March, you go, okay, we're going to open the park for rental facilities. And let's just say we decide to move forward for the April date without your support, let's just say without the city of Bessemer's sponsorship, could we still do it at the festival, at the park? But
no,
if
you cannot do it if the parks are not open.
Got it. So fall 2021 is what we need to look at to
yes,
partner
ma'am.
up with the city of Bessemer and to possibly do it at the park. So,
yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time and
thank you for coming.
Okay, y'all take care.
Have a good one now.
Thank you,
counselors. Thank you. Bye-bye. Counselors, we have item number 4, small sales. Mr. Blankenship, are you on the line? That was brought to us by Councilor Matthews. Councilor Matthews, is Mr. Blankenship on the line?
Yes, ma'am. I just rejoined you guys. I was on another meeting and was not really today, but I'm here.
Thank you, Mr. Blankenship. How are you?
Good, good.
I apologize that you wasn't here this morning, but you're here now. Councilor Matthews. Attorney Harris, are you on the line?
Okay, I'm here now, but
oh, you're
yeah,
here
I was
now.
trying.
Okay.
I guess I was touching. I get a little
Okay.
confused
All
sometimes.
right, go
All
ahead,
these gadgets,
Councilor
but
Matthews.
yeah. Yeah, Mr. Blankenship is here, and Madam Chair, I know the time is well spent, but I know we're having so many other. I think you mentioned two meetings where you mentioned two, but I think we're going to have one, and I guess
Yes.
Mr. Blankenship can maybe give us a short version, and we may have to do this in a special meeting too, because it's now 12:05. So I know everybody don't want to be sitting here listening at 30 minutes, 30-minute presentations.
Well, let me ask Mr. Blankenship. Mr. Blankenship, would it be feasible for you to do it now or in a separate meeting?
Probably, Madam President, probably a separate meeting would probably be more appropriate, because it does seem like you guys have been on a long time, and I like to have a chance to be able to speak to you all as it relates to what the needs of the city are as it relates to small cells. I would just simply say that to make sure that the city is aware that, wireless industry is moving real fast in a race to deploy 5G throughout the country, and they have a goal of adding approximately 1,000 cell sites per month. And I just want to give you all any information that I can share with you to make sure that you're prepared and in a position to take advantage of any revenue opportunity that could be generated through your right of ways. But I would love the opportunity to speak to you at a later date. But sooner, I guess it would probably be sooner would be better, because the legislature is in session right now.
Yes, sir, they are in session, and I did hear something about small cells with the legislature.
So I'll be open. You just give me a date and time, and I'll try to work it out so that I can make myself available.
Yes, sir.
And again, apologize for not being available earlier.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. Within the next 14 days, does that sound about right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'll call a special meeting within the next 14 days, Mr. Blankenship, and you can come back in and speak with the council.
Thank you, Madam President and Mayor and council members. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Councilors, if it's okay with you, let us move item number 16 up, please. Is Attorney Payton on the line? Attorney Payton.
Yes, ma'am. Madam President, I've got Mr. David Garcia with CSAC has been on the line since 10 a.m. this morning. Would you mind if we went back and answered any questions the council might have on that one, so he might be excused before we go to 16?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so Mr. David Garcia is here with us. Thank you, David, for being so patient with us this morning. But I think some of the council members had questions about CSAC and what it does and why does the city of Bessemer need a licensing agreement with CSAC? So if you don't mind giving us a little rendition on that, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. I do apologize. I did not know that you were on the line. Had I known, I would have moved you up. Mr. Garcia.
David, you seem to be muted.
Mountains.
Attorney Harris, are you on the line?
Yes, I am on the line. Can you hear me?
Sir.
I'm seeing apparently Mr. Garcia, but I don't see I see his lips moving, but I don't hear him.
Mr. Garcia he appears to be muted. Carlton, how come I can't see everybody?
You need to mute yourself, Madam President.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can tell everybody else to mute. I need to mute myself. Is that right? I'm sorry.
We can't hear him. I don't know if that's a Rick issue or.
I think we are having some issues because Mr. Carlton is in here with me.
Okay. The only thing I can tell Dave, maybe he could try to call in and use a telephone call off of that link that was sent to you. We'll try that.
Think he's unmuted now.
I think he just gave a hands up to the call, thumbs up to the call.
Okay, because I
We
can
can't hear
see
you.
him moving, but I don't see him. I don't hear him.
I don't know if he can hear us, but if he could call us, that'd be good.
He has thumbs up on the call.
All right.
Is he talking? No.
It's not working. Well,
I think he hears us, but we can't hear him.
so Madam President, I don't know how many questions you guys have, but maybe I could have him maybe we could work out the technical difficulties and have him next Tuesday, put it back on the agenda. Would that be okay? And have him then?
I mean, that'll be okay.
All right.
Well,
We'll
we,
work it out then, Dave. I'm sorry.
Attorney Payton, Madam Chair, we still have a ways to go. You know, you may be able to get back in the
Okay.
next.
All right. So David, if you could work it out, we can hear you in the next little bit. That's great. But we'll move on to, Madam President, I guess just move on to the next one. We'll go from there.
Back to it. Attorney Payton.
Singleton.
Attorney Payton.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I'm doing fine. How can I help you?
Absolutely. I'm assuming you're from the Nutanix?
No, sir. I'm on the phone right now. Is there something I can help you with?
Mr. Singleton, we can't hear him.
Introduce ourselves to you sometime in the next couple of weeks.
Hold on a minute, sir. Hold on a minute.
Madam President, can you hear me?
Attorney Payton, you can go ahead.
All right. So House Bill 199, I think it is, has been introduced into the legislature.
193.
Is it 199 or 193?
193, my bad.
193.
All right, and it's my understanding it passed out of committee. I don't know what the status is today, but I had reviewed the act. I had a number of questions about it, so I contacted Mr. Harris and asked him some questions, and I think we have some of the same questions. So the first one was, it says this proposed amendment under D1, it says upon ratification of this amendment, any local act in conflict with this amendment is repealed. It doesn't specifically mention any local act by number. There is an existing act. I think that is Act number 499. That's probably where I came up with that. Act 499. Right. And there are 3 persons that receive retirement checks from the city of Bessemer from that. So I didn't know, and I think Representative Alexander was a sponsor of this bill, and I saw her earlier on the call. I think I still see her there. I'd love to know if
on the line. Representative Alexander, are you here?
Yeah.
Unmute yourself, please.
I'm here.
Okay. She's here, Attorney Payton.
So I get the question I have is, was that D1 where it says upon ratification of this amendment, any local act in conflict with this amendment is repealed? Was it the intent of this constitutional amendment to repeal Act number 499?
No, it was not to appeal 499 because 499 is illegal. So what this bill does is give the city part-time elected officials an opportunity to pay into retirement. And once they retire and once they get of age to retire, they can receive retirement. The only somebody that could receive retirement from the city of Bessemer as of now would be the mayor of the city of Bessemer, because he's part-time mayor, but he's a full-time over the electric company, and he pays into it on that side. So once he get of age to receive retirement, he then can receive retirement from RSA. You have to pay into something to get something out. And what they're trying to do is help Bessemer and other municipalities get under the right guidelines, because the law says no part-time elected officials can receive retirement. That's including me. Anybody down in the state, we cannot receive retirement. All those folks that have been down all those years cannot receive retirement because we are part-time. And the law says that a municipality like Bessemer did with Ms. Bobby McDowell passed a law, passed an ordinance here in the city of Bessemer, and said that they can receive, the mayor and city council can receive retirement and try to pass it down there. Well, they came back at the same time that was done and stated that it was illegal. A general opinion was given to us back in I forgot what year it was, but it was in 2000 and something. And it said that when Mayor Mitchell went to retire, that he could only receive RSA, or he could not receive both retirement, but you had to pay into it. So I'm going to ask the city council so that they can get, and the mayor as well, because me and the mayor had this conversation at Food Giant, and he understood, we talked real good about it. And he understood that, yeah, he could receive retirement because he works for Bessemer Utilities and he pays into it. But on the other side, on the city side, nobody pays into it, so you can't get anything out. If you go to the bank and you write a get one of those forms out there and say you want to withdraw some money out of account that you hadn't put money in, you can't get money out. That don't make any sense. If you don't put nothing in, you can't get nothing out. And to pay out of the general fund, I'm saying to the council, I'm saying the mayor don't have a vote. Certainly the attorney don't have a vote. Neither one. Your clerk don't have a vote. Your tech, none of them have a vote. It's 7 people that sat on that dais have a vote. When it all comes down and comes back, it's gonna come and bite the 7 folks or whoever votes for or voted for it in the past and still continue to do what they're doing now. That's illegal. Now, we did have a discussion, Attorney Payton, and I see where you're coming from now. We did have this discussion. Well, what about those that they have allowed to get on the retirement plan? Are they receiving Social Security? Are they receiving any of them receiving RSA? Are they receiving retirement from another entity plus getting money from the city? And that's something that they said that the city of Bessemer will have to work that out. But going forward, it's illegal. So we're trying to bring it legal for everybody to be able to pay into it in order to get it.
Right. So Representative Alexander, you are correct. I don't have a dog in this fight. I'm just trying to make sure that I understand the act, the amendment is written.
Correct.
And so that if the bill passes through the legislature, there's going to be a referendum. There'll be a vote of the people. And I can see that I will be asked questions. You will be asked questions. All the city councilors will be asked questions. So I'm just trying to get an understanding of this so that if it does need to be corrected in any manner, it could be corrected prior to it being passed. Okay. So
not a problem.
That's all I'm trying to do.
Yes, sir. Not a problem.
Okay. So it says on number D2, on and after the ratification of this amendment, an elected official of the city of Bessemer who elects to participate in the employee's retirement system may not participate in the retirement system for the city of Bessemer. So I guess the question I have is the retirement plan that the city has is through the retirement system of Alabama. So how could one participate in the retirement system for the city of Bessemer, but not the RSA?
No, they will be participating in RSA. But they will have what they're trying to say is they will pay into it. They will have to pay into it, Mr. Payton, from this point on. As soon as it passed, if any of them elect to get on the retirement system, they will have to then start paying into it out of their paycheck. Y'all would cut them just like y'all would cut any employee that's getting retirement.
Okay, so
it's the same thing. If any employee want to be on, we passed something back a long time ago when they want to be on the insurance, they will have to pay the full. We had to pay the full amount. to be on the insurance. If they want to pay into retirement, then they pick out a plan and they pay into that plan.
All right, so when it says may not participate in the retirement system for the city of Bessemer, what is the distinction? You say
Bessemer, they will pay into it, but Bessemer won't match. Just like Bessemer won't pay part of their retirement; they'll pay into their retirement fully. Whatever amount they choose with the plan that is set up, they will have to pay that.
the employee, the official would, the elected official would.
Yes, the elected official would.
So any catch-up payments would be employee payments, but not employer payments.
Correct.
Correct. Okay. All right. Now to clear a couple of things up. One, I don't think the mayor of the city of Bessemer, and he would know, I don't think he is allowed to participate through the utilities on the retirement system. I don't think he is. I think when you were referring to a mayor, it was Ed Porter had to elect between taking the utilities pension or the Act number 499 pay and receive the 499 pay. I don't think it was Mitchell, and I defer to Mayor Gully on this, but I don't think he participates in the RSA through the utilities or is allowed to. The second thing is Act number 499 is an act of the state legislature. Until a court rules that it is illegal, I think the city of Bessemer is obligated to follow Act number 499 and pay the payments out under that plan pursuant to the state statute. Now, if a court rules that it's unconstitutional, that's a different thing at that point. And I remember the AG opinion. The AG opinion did not say it was illegal, but suggested that it might violate a provision of the Constitution. I can't remember which section. I think it was section 98, and Greg may be able to help me more on that, but just wanted to clear those two items up.
Well, could I ask the city council a question?
Yes, ma'am.
In order for y'all to get a better understanding of this, could the city council, by a vote, ask for an a general opinion as of now, whether it's legal or not?
I certainly they could ask for an attorney general's opinion, but again, I think that an AG's opinion is going to be no different than my opinion, in that the act would still be on the books until a court ruled that it was unconstitutional.
No, Mr. Payne, I think I beg the difference, because the law is the law.
Exactly.
And the law is the law. And down in Montgomery, that is already stated in the book, in regards to what Bobby McDowell did, the law had already stated that it was illegal. So they came back and told her that is illegal, and they crossed it out. So the law is the law. If you ask for an attorney general opinion, it won't be. It's not going to hurt. It won't be any harm. It's not going to hurt you or kill you, or but it will give you a sense of the direction.
Okay, Madam Chair. Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, let me.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I don't care one way or the other about whose opinion, but what I do want to know is I'm confused with the language that I see here, and from a standpoint of upon ratification of this amendment in a local act in conflict. Well, who says that there's a conflict in the local act? That's one. And two, will you have a choice? Do you have a choice in joining RSA? Suppose you don't want to join RSA.
You don't have to. You don't have to.
Well, okay, good point. So if you don't join RSA, then you continue to get the money from the city?
No, it's illegal. They're giving you a legal way.
Okay, now tell me, where is that in writing that $4.99? I mean, just plain as you and I looking at each other. Where's that said it's illegal for the city of Bessemer to operate on the $4.99? I'm just cut and dry. Is that somewhere written?
It said, we asked for attorney general opinion when
No,
me,
no,
you,
no.
Dot, and no,
Yeah,
I'm just,
no,
you asked me
no.
where it was.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to argue anything. I'm just trying
Okay.
to say, is there anywhere written where it said 499 is illegal? Just straight. Are they, and then what happens to the 1, 2, 3 persons?
It's 3.
That wait a minute, yeah, I understand. Hold it. What happens to those 3 people that now are getting checks from the city of Bessemer? I mean,
That's
I know
what.
I asked you 3 questions, but I'm
Oh, but
sorry. I
that's
just
okay. And I'm gonna answer all 3 of your questions.
what
If
happens?
you would have heard, you was listening to me at first. I
Okay.
said that the ones that was already on it, it's
Yeah.
gonna be up to the city. They're gonna leave that up to the city of Bessemer to continue that, because y'all allowed them to get on it, knowing back then, even though we got an attorney general opinion way back, and y'all went on, and then you keep on it, you keep doing it. So you have given them a mean of living.
Okay.
So
Let me ask
3,
you this: where is it written that we gave permission to? And I'm saying a resolution or ordinance or something.
the resolution at the city of Bessemer, when they voted to start giving, when we voted, when it was voted, took a vote, that Mayor Mitchell they would give him that 1 day in order for him to get it. That's the resolution was given by the city of Bessemer.
Okay.
Even though we had an attorney general opinion that was given, and it was stated on there that attorney general opinion said that it was legal for him to get retirement. Later on, found out that was not the case. That was not what that attorney general opinion said. So we was lied to by the city attorney and the setting attorney for the city of Bessemer. I mean, for us and for them at that particular time. LaBrenda Marshall was on there, and I can just see it just as clear. And at that particular time, Greg Harris, you had just become the attorney.
Okay.
When this came back up, when we was talking about it, because Ed May brought it back up. Ed May brought this back up, and we took another vote and everything. But Greg, you was the sitting attorney for the city council, and if I'm not mistaken, you can go back and pull those records, because it's stated on there upon what the attorneys had said. That's why it was agreed upon, because they said that the attorney opinion said that it was legal. Found out down the road that it was not. It was not legal. Look, I'm not trying to. I'm gonna say this. This 193 is the same one that I put in for right before the pandemic. It's the same one. So when we open back up, any bills that we had in came back up to the full point. So what I did is I said, hey, yeah, go ahead and put that one down. I want to go to the city council. I'm gonna discuss it. I'm gonna explain to them why, and if they got a problem with it, then we can take it off. I can take it out. I don't have a problem with it, but it will be stated by me, and I'm gonna say it for the record that it's illegal, and I'm trying to make whatever we do in the city of Bessemer going forward is legal. If you don't pay into something, you don't get anything. And if y'all want it off the table, tell me today. I'll call down and I tell them take it off. If y'all got 4 or 5, take it off.
Madam Chair, only thing I'm saying is what you've introduced and my reading, I'm unclear. I mean, somebody else might. I'm unclear with what I'm reading. I'm unclear, and until I get clarity on what I've asked, because I'm still unclear. I mean, and we've talked, and I'm gonna hush, but I'm still unclear on what I see here when it says, and I know you answered the questions. I know you answered the question. Said upon the ratification, any local act in conflict with this is repealed. Well, who's saying that it's a conflict? I'm just unclear.
Because we asked for attorney general opinion, and then we went on with it, and by Mr. Payton, myself, and others was calling about it. They said, you know, to clear up anything or miss in any wrongdoings or right or whatever. Once this is it in, anything else is out. Your mind could be clear, be put at rest. But let me say this: y'all gave somebody else 14 days to come back. I'm gonna get every piece of paperwork from and bring. I would love to come down and present on board from the first, like he said, uh, the first mayor. He said, what's the first mayor of
I think it was Porter. I think he was the first.
Yeah,
Ed Porter.
Ed Porter. He
Right.
said Ed Porter, but the first mayor under me, it was Mayor Mitchell, then May. But you know that would have gotten it, but it was Mayor Mitchell, Dot in favor. So those right there is in my scope right there. But I'm gonna go all the way back and make sure that I have paperwork from Ed Porter, from the time Bob McDowell did what she did up until now. Give it to y'all each in a folder. Go over it one sheet at a time. Show you the distinction of each paragraph, to show you the corrections that are being made, and also show you the Attorney General opinion. Show you the law that states that no elected official part-time can receive retirement, and then show you if you don't pay into it, you can't get nothing out. So I would love to have those 14 days to give y'all a billboard example in classwork on it.
So my purpose of discussing this today was not, Representative Alexander, was not, I don't want you to think I'm opposed to this or arguing with you on it. I'm just trying to get an understanding myself. I think
Yeah, that's
the
right.
attempt to do this is really good. I understand the constitutional provision that you're talking about. I don't have it right in front of me. So I think there is a question as to the constitutionality of the other one. It hasn't been ruled to be, and I don't want to get to a debate on that way, but in my knowledge, it hasn't been ruled in a court of law to be unconstitutional. So I think the city is obligated to pay under that other one until that point. But I think your attempt to do this is accurate, and there certainly wouldn't be a constitutional issue under this act. Okay.
Correct.
I was just trying to clarify. I did not understand, like Mr. Matthews, D1 and D2 seem to have some ambiguity to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trying to get some clarity on those two.
That's all.
Yes.
Are there any more questions? I think I had a question. I brought this up once before, and I got the paperwork, Representative Alexander, but I do want you to bring all of that paperwork because I am still confused about, it said no part-time elected official could receive RSA and another retirement. But we came back here to the city of Bessemer and we're doing it out of the general funds. So I would love to see all of that paperwork, although I had nothing to do with this, but I would love to see all of that paperwork. I would love to get to the bottom of this, because if we're not supposed to be doing this out of our general fund, I don't think any counselor would want to do this out of our out of the general fund. And I had a few more questions, but I'll wait until you bring all of that paperwork with you in 14 days. You just call us
and
when
I'll
you
do
get
that.
paperwork.
Okay, I'll bring that back in 14 days, but I just want to leave this with the council, the mayor, and the attorneys in the council. Those three that's on it will stay on it because that's their way of living. But going forward, nobody else could get on it.
So they'll stay on it through RSA, not out of the general fund. Is that correct?
However y'all want to give it to them, you have to pay into RSA in order for them to get it. But that's their way of living. That they say you can't, they said upon them they have been receiving this money, you just can't snatch it. You have to find some other way to, compensate them for that. And now, I think, me just personally, I think just say we was making $10,000. I think that's 5,000. I think it said we receive half. That's 5. If the mayor was receiving 10,000 that was, from the city of Bessemer and Bessemer Utilities. Well, Bessemer Utilities goes under another retirement because it should have been paid into it. Yeah, it was paid into it on that side. But on this side, if he was receiving 20,000, that's only 10,000 that he should have been getting from this side. Period. But I'll bring the paperwork and we'll do the numbers and we'll go from there.
Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am, Councilor Crusoe.
Okay, just to get us some more clarity, she kind of answered my question in the last statement. As far as with those 3 recipients, they'll basically be grandfathered in. As far as in whichever way we choose to go forth, with the legality of the retirement. Okay. Another thing. Correct. Now, as you mentioned, as far as with the mayor's position being part-time and with the utility company, that position is deemed a full-time position. What position is that at the utility company?
He's the head administrator. He's over the whole utilities. He's the manager.
The manager of the utility. So that's the mayor being his own boss, basically.
Well,
Yep.
The mayor
is that ethical, Attorney Payton?
The citizens are my boss.
I said, Attorney Payton, is that ethical?
Yes, the law, as written, the stated code of Alabama makes the mayor the general manager of the utilities. Like he's the mayor of the city. The mayor is basically the general manager of the city.
Yeah,
I'm aware. And they passed a law, and I pulled that as well. Whereas in certain cities, that the mayor can be the manager of the utilities. Okay. And it was voted on, and if just like I said, if y'all any cities, because some cities is going back now and they're taking that down and they're voting, they're saying, okay, we want to do away with the mayor being the manager because you already the mayor hires the manager, so there's 2 managers. So some cities, small cities, are doing away with it. So when I brought up a bill, it's still out there. I'll be going back. Hopefully, we out next week. I'll be going back the next week because I've been out. I'm supposed to be at the doctor. I had to call and tell them that I'll be there in a few at 2:30 instead of 1:30. But when I go back, I even pull that for you to show you how that came about for small cities. So it was done legal. It was nothing that they just threw together, but that position could be, taken down, and the mayor just be the mayor of the city, and then he hires a utility manager. He'll be over hiring just like he's over hiring anybody in the city of Bessemer anyway.
That's right. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir. Councilor Matthews.
Okay. Councilor Alexander, I hope you get a good report from your doctor. I hope you continue to recuperate well. And like I said, all I want is clarity, and I'm well aware of 1143D that states that the mayor is the superintendent of the utilities, and then there's a manager under him. Even little small cities in Marengo County,
right?
The mayor, superintendent of the utilities. So I'm more concerned. I'm pretty clear cut on the superintendent and the utilities and 1143D, but I'm unclear on HB 193, and I just want to get clarity on that. And thank you for thank you for your efforts in trying to true up something whereby, and I'm gonna tell you something else I'm unclear on. When you said that y'all do what you want to do about the 3, I'm just
no, the 3 is in no matter what you do. I'm saying how you want to
But
pay for it. That's what I'm saying. They're grandfathered in because that's their way of living. You cannot pull their way of living from under their feet.
I'm trying to pull nobody living away. I was just saying I'm unclear about HB 193 that you're gonna bring that clarification back so we can have better understanding on it prior to a vote. Okay.
Correct.
Madam President. Madam President, Greg Harris.
Greg Harris, Attorney
Yes,
Harris.
and Madam Representative, I just have I'm a bit unclear because if the three, those who are already under the Bessemer, so-called the Bessemer local plan, 499.
Yes, 499.
And is it in conflict or not then with what the proposed amendment? If they're going to continue, because if it's in conflict with it, then it's deemed to be repealed. So there seems to be a question right in the middle of that, whether or not 499 survives or not. That's I think that's where quite a bit of unclarity is, right?
Okay, I'll make sure I get that clarified for you.
Okay.
That is where that is Attorney. I had spoken with Attorney Harris about that. That is where a lot of the confusion is coming in at. And I've also requested the resolutions on each that we're paying out of general funds. I did already receive the ex-mayor. We cannot find resolutions for the ex-counselors. We've been looking now for 2.5 years, and we are told by the city clerk that there are none. And we were told by the counselors at that time that there was not one. But Representative Alexander, as soon as you get that paperwork, please give us a call. And I would love to know, to clear up some of these questions that we have.
Okay,
Thank you
not
so
a
much
problem.
for your time. Was that it, Attorney Payton?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Question, can you guys hear me now?
Just one moment, Mr. Garcia.
All right, I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay. You've been here for quite some time. It's now your turn to speak and we can hear you.
Okay.
Mr. David Garcia, CSAC musical performance.
Yeah, so good afternoon. Thank you for having me, everyone. It's great to be here. So I've been in contact with Mr. Payton. We've been going back and forth about the city obtaining a CSAC public performance license. To my understanding, he brought it up in a past meeting, and there was just some confusion regarding CSAC and music licensing and everything. So I'll just kind of go through a brief overview, and then if you guys have any questions, of course, feel free to ask. So CSAC, we are a performing rights organization. We're listed in the U.S. copyright law. Under U.S. copyright law, intellectual property is protected. And specifically, the intellectual property that we represent is musical intellectual property. So under the U.S. copyright law, in order to publicly perform any sort of musical material that is copyrighted, it is the ownership of the songwriters or the music publishers. There needs to be permission from the copyright owner. So what our licenses do is we represent specific songwriters and music publishers, and obtaining a license from us will grant that permission on behalf of all of the songwriters and music publishers that we represent. And of course, this sort of authorization pertains to live music, recorded music, because anytime music is performed, whether it is live or recorded, it does need to have the permission of the songwriter or the music publisher that owns it. So I'm not sure if that was confusing. Of course, if anyone has questions regarding that specifically.
Madam Chair.
Councilor Crusoe.
Hello, thank you, Madam Chair. I'm Mr. Garcia. What I needed some clarity on, I was one of the ones who had questions and was trying to get a clear understanding. Here in the city of Bessemer, for the most part, back to school giveaways, with music playing, DJs hired, possible, Easter egg hunts, just different events where a possible DJ is being hired to facilitate the event. Is it not that DJ's responsibility to have, such, I guess the licenses, what is being required for us to buy for the city?
Right.
Would that, would that be the responsibility of the DJ?
So that's a very good question. DJs do, depending on what type of music they spin, they do have to obtain licensing, but it is not public performance licensing. DJs typically obtain compulsory licenses. With public performance licensing, more often than not, the obligation to obtain a public performance license falls on the actual business that is hosting the performance, or in this case, the municipality. Whether it is an event that's being organized by a third party, whether it's an event that is being organized specifically by the city. So whether it's either of those situations, the obligation would still fall on the city to obtain the proper licensing, because at the end of the day, it is very much possible that the city can be held liable for any copyright infringement that would occur. And so, I did take notes. So of course, there's the recreation center. I noticed that something on the website said that there are group classes. I'm not sure what kind of group classes typically are held there, but let's say if it's like a fitness class, like a Zumba class or something like that, if there's music that is being used through a device, whether it's a streaming service or, CD, like MP3s, those would be considered public performances. And because the recreation center is operated by the city, it would fall on the city to obtain the proper licensing for those performances. And then of course, there's the Civic Center. I also noticed the De Bartolomé Park. I know that was mentioned in a previous discussion, but that also has the pagoda where music, bands can play. That's rented out for summer concerts or whatever. So those are all kind of instances where public performance licensing would be important to have. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so basically, given the event that we were discussing earlier, that would be ultimately one of the main examples, or one of the examples that we can use in this instance of needing these public performance licenses, is what you're saying?
Yeah. So specifically that event is an example. We could go directly to the event organizers. However, in order to not incur any liability at all for the city, it would be wise to obtain a public performance license, just because it could be possible that if litigation were to occur for copyright infringement, there is a possibility that they might not go after the Bob Sykes Festival, they could go after the city of Bessemer. So that is an example. It's probably not the best example, but that is an example.
Yes, sir. And this is an annual cost, something that has to be renewed annually?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. So I know for the year of 2021, according to my discussions with Shan, Mr. Payton, it seems like the licensing fee tier would be the second, and that is $965 for the full year, which breaks down to $80.43 or 42 cents every month, which breaks down to $2.64 a day. Yes, those licensing agreements do automatically renew every single year. Yeah, so the fee does increase every year as well. Typically, CPI or 5%, depending on which is higher.
Yes, sir. I mean, thank you so much for your clarity. You shed light on some things for me. And given that we do, as you mentioned, the rec center, it falls in my district, but with the blues, not the blues, like the jazz in the park, and other things that we look forward to possibly introducing to the city of Bessemer, just to, I guess, take the safety measures concerning the litigation, as you just mentioned. I'd rather be proactive, like as I've said numerous times before in previous council members, than to be somewhere having to push the boogie. So no problem. I just needed to get a little more clarity and a better understanding, because I know we hadn't really dealt with anything on this scale in the past here in the city of Bessemer. I'm just more so having hiring DJs for different events that we were having. So with your coming and bringing some more clarity before us, I greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much, Mr. Garcia. Thanks, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Are there any more questions?
Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. When was this law put into place, and is it other municipalities that's paying into this grant?
Yeah.
I mean, into this?
Yes, so the US copyright law, I mean, if I'm being honest, I don't know the exact date. I mean, I could probably do a quick Google search, but it is a federal level law, of course. And yes, we do have other municipalities currently licensed with us in order to authorize any CSAC represented material that is being performed. I'm not sure if that answers your question completely, but
My question is, why now? Why come after the cities now?
Right.
When it's been in place for years.
Gotcha. Okay, so I mean, unfortunately, we just have never really focused in on the city. Well, technically speaking, the obligation to reach out and obtain licensing does fall on the city, but that never happened. We research, and sometimes it takes a really long time to reach out to any sort of businesses that may have been playing music for sometimes it's been 20 years, sometimes it's just been like 3 years, sometimes it's been even longer. But the importance of obtaining the authorization to publicly perform copyrighted material, it is important, and technically it should have been in place if there have been events where copyrighted music has been performed, on city property. It really should have been in place prior to the very first performance, but obviously it wasn't, which is fine. Like, we're not trying to go retroactively, like, get you guys paying extra fees for all those years that you didn't have licensing or anything.
So you're saying, excuse me, I'm sorry to interrupt, but you're saying the first performance of, because we only, I mean, up until a year ago, or almost 2 years ago, that's when we started having jazz in the park. So the only big event that we have that's musical is the Bob Sykes Blues and Barbecue. Is that what
Right.
you're referring to?
So, I mean, so events like those events specifically are good examples. However, you know, anytime that, let's say, the Civic Center was rented out for a banquet where, you know, music was performed, where, you know, somebody hired a DJ or somebody, you know, put on their, you know, 90s playlist or, you know, 80s pop playlist or something like that. Those would be instances of public performances that would require licensing or the authorization from the songwriters and music publishers that own the music that they're playing. I mean, technically speaking, busking would also be considered a public performance. So if somebody, you know, let's just say they were in the park with their guitar, they were strumming their guitar, playing some Bob Dylan, and there was an audience, then, you know, that is also an instance that would require the permission of the copyright owners. And that is, you know, another example where licensing would be important.
And we will be held liable if someone just wanted to play a guitar with people in the park. The city will be held liable. I'm just trying to understand
Right.
this because the copyright infringement been in place since what, 1976, and it's 2021. And I'm just trying to see what's the rush on getting this passed. We're not having any big events. It's COVID. I mean, I'm just trying to understand the rush.
Right. No, I understand. And I mean, like, I'm not saying that you guys would, you know, somebody like Bob Dylan would hear somebody strumming their guitar in the Bar de Lebanon Park in the pagoda, just, you know, playing their guitar, and there's like 5-10 people outside, and he'd be like, oh, the city of Bessemer doesn't have a license. They're not authorized to play my music. I'm going to sue them. You know, like, I mean, realistically, that probably won't happen, but the way that the law is written, it can happen. And so in order to protect the city, the best way to do that would be to obtain a CSAC license in order to protect the city from any sort of litigation that could possibly occur from the city hosting performances of CSAC represented material.
I can just
And
imagine how many litigations y'all are in right now then, if that's the case. I mean, every city, I mean, it's a lot. People play music all the time at events. So how do y'all police that? Like, how do y'all keep up with that or track that to even go after someone?
right. So, I mean, what we could do is, you know, we could always send somebody over. We could always, you know, send somebody over and kind of check up on the business or check up on the city. I mean, of course, these are all hypotheticals. I mean, I'm not saying that, you know, we're constantly and actively doing that, you know, to these businesses, to these cities. But again, you know, in order to lawfully operate, it is imperative to obtain the permission, the authorization that a license can provide. So, I mean, you know, we're not, again, to answer your question, we're not, you know, actively always checking up on people or businesses or cities. But again, it is, no, it's okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but so out of all the cities in the state of Alabama, no, just Jefferson County, how many contracts do you have?
With the cities of Jefferson County?
Within the cities of Jefferson County.
So I don't know that I'm allowed to give that information.
Why not?
I didn't ask the name of the municipality. I just
asked a number.
Yeah, the number.
Okay. I mean, I'm not sure off the top of my head. I'd really have to like go in and go into our system and check on that and see what cities are in Jefferson County and search each and every one. But again, I mean, in order to ensure lawful operations, because again, it does seem like there are events that are being held in city of Bessemer operated properties that would most likely require authorization from copyright owners. So I mean, like, you know, not to kind of like knock that question away or anything, but you know, it doesn't really matter how many municipalities in Jefferson County we currently have licensed. And there's a possibility that we're already going after some of the other ones that we don't have licensed. But again, in order to ensure lawful operations of the city, in order to ensure that, you know, the city won't be held liable for any instances where copyright infringement may occur, it is important to obtain this authorization that comes with a CSAC license.
Okay, being that we're not having any big events right now, and like we explained to Bob Sykes, maybe in
Right.
the fall, can we take this? I mean, I'm asking, can you come back in the fall? I mean, is it something that we have to decide on today in planning session to be voted on in council meeting?
Right. Okay. Good question. So the earlier, the better, just to ensure that you guys are protected. Again, even if somebody is out in the park strumming their guitar, if they're out on the street and there's an audience people can hear, that would be considered a public performance. But it doesn't, I mean, you guys don't need to decide on it today. It's fine. What I was actually going to offer, because I know that you guys had mentioned like none of the facilities are open right now, so there's really nothing going on. We could always, in regards to the license agreement, there's a start date. Typically, we start like at the beginning of the year, just go through the full licensing period, but I could actually push that up and we could prorate the fee in as well. So, I mean, we could do, like, we could set the start date in April, we could set the start date June. I could always just follow up with you guys or somebody, Mr. Payton, you know, just figure out when things start opening back up, you know, facilities and the parks and
Yeah, I would love
events are
that
being
because
held.
it don't look like we're shooting for anything right now. Maybe in the fall or the first of next year. But being that the council is over finance and that's $1,000, that's $1,000 that can go towards something else in the general fund. I mean, it's big cities like New Orleans and Atlanta, and you see people all the time in the subway in New York playing instruments. I'm just trying to wrap my mind around it, and maybe I
Right.
need to do some more research on it.
No, it's okay. I understand. Like, it's very confusing. There's a lot of intricacies that go into, you know, copyright law, and public performance licensing. So, I mean, but thank you for your questions. That, I mean, they're all valid questions, you know. So thank you for that. And yeah, I know that you had mentioned, you know, like New York City, and I mean, we definitely have New York City license. I'll tell you that much. So any sort of, you know, musical events like busking that's happening in the subways, those are already authorized.
Thank you so much.
CSAC. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you all so much, counselors. This is not a pressing item, the CSAC performance license. I'm kind of like Counselor Alexander. I'm trying to wrap my mind around how would the city of Bessemer be sued for someone playing their own music in the park. They're playing their own music, and I did look up the performance agreement, and it said it was between the owner of the music and the player of the music, and it's really hard for me to see the city of Bessemer being sued for Cynthia Donald playing Cynthia Donald's music. Thank you, Mr. Garcia, and we will have you back when the city has opened up for large gatherings. Thank you so much for waiting.
No, it's okay.
For such a long time. I didn't know you were there, but we will, believe me, we will get back with you because I don't want the city sued for something that we really had nothing to do with. Thank you so much. Is anyone else on the line that, yes, it is. Item number 13, please. Are they still on the line? Ms. Taylor, item number 13. Are they still on the
Discussion
line?
on agreement will create Birmingham.
Are they still on the line, 13 and 14? If not, Councilor Collier, we will call a meeting just for item number 13 and 14, if that's okay with this
Did you
body.
ask Mr. Nars of the mail, they on the line? Because they've been holding on just as long as anybody else. You know, I would hate to not give them the opportunity to speak.
I want to give them every opportunity in this world. Are they on the line?
Madam President, to my knowledge, neither one is on the line at this time.
Okay, we will call a meeting and make sure that they are on the line and or here in the council chambers with me. That's item number 13 and item number 14. Item number 11, please. I'm sorry, item number 9.
Item number 9, update on Facebook Live.
Mayor Gully, is there an update on Facebook Live? Mayor Gully. Mr. Singleton.
Madam President, this is Shan. I've been discussing some issues with Mr. Harris regarding a recent court case out of the Fourth Circuit, United States Court of Appeals. It's Davison versus Randall. And in that case, Phyllis Randall was a commissioner in, I think it's Loudoun or Loudoun County, Virginia. She had a Facebook page that she allowed citizens to comment on. And she then did not like a comment made by Mr. Davison and took his comments off. When she did so, Mr. Davison filed a suit in federal court under Section 1983 and for violating his First Amendment rights. The Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that by establishing a forum where public comments are available, that all comments had to be allowed, and that basically you have no control over any of the comments that are made on that forum. So if you had a Facebook Live presentation where comments could be made, the city council could not control any comments at all whatsoever, even if they were deemed hate speech. Hate speech is protected under the First Amendment to the Constitution. So another prong of attack that Mr. Davison took was that by using Facebook Live as a public forum, whether the city or city council banned any comments, the fact that Facebook reserved the right to ban comments, that was a violation of their First Amendment rights, and that could be attributed to the city because the city chose that forum. Mr. Davison, when he made that complaint, the district court ruled that he made that amended complaint too late, and the district court ruled that they thought his claim would have been futile on that ground, but the Court of Appeals said, we do not rule that that is a futile claim, that is a claim that would be based on merit. We're just saying that he raised that one issue late. So I think there's some issues regarding allowing comments that you need to take seriously before you allow comments. Or that you choose Facebook Live, which Facebook could choose to make comments or not make comments. And I requested that Mr. Harris review that case also yesterday, and I don't know if he has any more comments on that issue.
Attorney Harris.
Yes, Councilor. Ms. Payton did
make me aware of that case. I have pulled the case down, haven't had a chance, it's rather lengthy, haven't had a chance to go over it and completely get an understanding of it, but I have it, and I'm going to, just as soon as possible, give you my opinion of what that case stands for. But it does appear from my cursory reading of it that it is along the lines being explained by Attorney Payton at this point.
Thank you, Attorney Harris, Attorney Payton.
Madam Chair.
One moment, Councilor Crusoe.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, it really vexes my spirit when you see that other municipalities can have Facebook Live without the conflicts and problems that we're digging through the books and pulling up out of the toilet and here, there, and everywhere. And I meant just that, pulling up out of the toilet. Here, there, and everywhere. I don't see a problem. We can not have comments. But if you look at the rating of YouTube right now for the city of Bessemer, whereas we may have gotten 15, I'll say, let's say 15 people in council meeting, we're right now reaching somewhere near 1,500 and 1,600 people. And I love it. I love it that we're reaching these people and that people are concerned, as some of us say they're not concerned about what is going on in the city of Bessemer. We have people concerned about what is going on. I have spoken with 2 or 3 people out of Washington and 1 at Auburn University who states that the city of Bessemer, and I will not call his name, Mr. Singleton and the mayor and Mayor Gully does know, that the city of Bessemer has everything that we need here in the city to do Facebook Live. We have all equipment and we are ready to go. I truly don't see where that problem comes in, but since the city's attorney stated that he has not had the opportunity to look at what Attorney Payton suggested, I would hope this body will give the attorney the opportunity to look at it and bring a report back on next week at council meeting. Bring a report back to this body.
Fine.
Attorney Harris.
Yes, ma'am, I'll do just that.
Thank you. Councilor Crusoe.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I mean, I'm a bit baffled. You know, I mean, you've kind of said a lot of it in a nutshell. I mean, we started out saying that we have the option of whether we'll allow the streaming or not.
We can.
Okay, now we're getting to the point of violating someone's, constitutional right of freedom of speech. If turning off the stream is what we have to do in order to better inform or to inform more of the citizens of the business, unlike, one councilor has stated that the citizens here in the city of Bessemer only want to know that they have police protection and that their trash is picked up. And I beg to differ concerning that. These citizens want to know, not only the citizens, the employees want to know the business of the city of Bessemer. And we should feel a sense of obligation to put it in every channel or every avenue that every outlet that we possibly can in order to be accommodating to the citizens and to the employees. But again, here we are, another week that we wait and dig for another, I guess we have another excuse now on next Tuesday. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
Councilor Alexander, if you would hold your comment until next Tuesday. Let us move on with the business of the city of Bessemer. Item number 11, please.
A resolution declaring certain property of the city of Bessemer surplus and authorizing its donation to the city of Lipscomb.
Mayor Gurley, would you like to speak on this?
Madam President, yes, I was contacted by the mayor of the city in Suffolk Lipscomb to ask if the city of Bessemer and so could assist and so them in regard to surplus and sub property. I in turn reached out to Chief Roper to see if he had anything that he had in his fleet that was that could be considered surplus of that we could donate to the city and Suffolk Lipscomb. That's where we are, and so relevant to that, they did ask themselves about some firefighting equipment as well. At this particular point, we did not have any fire services equipment that could be donated, but we did. Chief Roper did submit to me 3 police cruisers that he could donate to that city, and we need those vehicles declared surplus property in order to do that.
Councilors, you've heard the mayor, the city of Lipscomb. I have spoken with the mayor there in the city of Lipscomb. Is requesting any help that the city of Bessemer, any of the surrounding cities can help them with their I can't say a dire need of equipment. Councilors, are there any questions and or concerns? We'll have a resolution next week, Attorney Payton, for this surplus.
Yes, ma'am. You have it. I sent it to them, you guys, I think about a month ago, but I'll have it again.
Thank you, sir. Number 12, we're going to, since we got that janitorial, number 12, Ms. Taylor.
Discussion on bids received for janitorial services at Bessemer City Hall.
Ms. Taylor, I'm just trying to take your job. We did receive janitorial bids. We did send them to the mayor. The mayor in turn sent them back to the council, because the last 2 that was recommended, we're back in the same place again. So what we will do with the janitorial services, we will send them to a committee so that the committee can bring back recommendations to the council. Is that all right with this body? Is that okay with this body?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Thank you, ma'am. Item number 15, please.
Discussion on debris removal for MOU.
Attorney Payton.
Ron, do you want to speak on this?
Yes, Shannon, I will. This is an agreement that Jefferson County is with. It comes through the state of Alabama to, I believe that's District 6. It's a region in case there is a tornado or any substantial damage. The reaction will be quick. The price is already set. And if the city enters into that MOU with the county, if there is a disaster in the city, mainly a tornado, because it's coming up on tornado season, that it would be under contract and a quick reaction, possibly to get the debris cleaned up. We looked at the prices, Daniel and I did, and we feel like they're in line with standard price for those activities.
Mr. Gilbert, this is only if a tornado such come through.
Yes, ma'am. This, there's no cost to the city unless the city calls on there to be action taken.
Councilors, you see from Jefferson County, any concerns and or questions for Mr. Gilbert? Attorney Payton, you and Attorney Harris will get together and and we'll get the contract and or resolution on next week.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Item number 17, 18, and 19 will be forwarded to the agenda for next week. Item number 20, Ms. Taylor.
Discussion on District 1 through 7 issues.
District 1.
Thank you, Madam President. I'll be asking the entire council as well as our mayor to pray for the Ward family and the Wells family, both are out of the old Jonesboro areas who lost their loved ones. Thank you. And I will forward everything else to the mayor's office.
Thank you, Councilor Collier. District 2.
Yes, District 2, I was just gonna ask the mayor, can he get the litter crew out? There's so much litter in District 2. And also, I've been trying to call the environmental officer. I haven't been able to get in contact with him. Do we have a number that can be emailed to me for the environmental officer? Also, Mayor, have we even looked at trying to get vaccination stations set up in the city of Bessemer for the elderly?
Councilor Alexander, I'm currently working in concert and so with two different entities to set up a vaccination station here in Bessemer. I've worked with UAB West and currently UAB West and so has been doing it, giving vaccinations out of their civic room as it stands and stuff right now. But we've been in discussion and stuff with them to come back with something that we can coordinate with the vaccination of employees, school board members, as well as other teachers and healthcare workers. We're coordinating that and we're waiting on the vaccine to come in, and hospital officials and I, so we'll coordinate that. And if you need and stuff to speak to the environmental officer, I would encourage you to call the police department. Thank you.
Okay, I have two more statements. One question and two more statements. I got a complaint from 2505 13th Court North. They went and fixed the water line, I think about a week or so ago. They came back and they paved, they put the pavement down, but then the debris, they put it over in their drainage ditch and the mud, the dirt. They didn't remove it, and the citizen was complaining because she had to go out there and get it out the drainage system herself. And she wanted to know what was the protocol when they come out and dig up these water lines to fix the burst water lines. Do they haul off the debris that they've interrupted?
What's the address? They should and stuff clean the area up when they finish. What's the address on that?
2505 13th Court North. And I have one last thing, Mayor. I know you're the administrator over the seat, and I've asked you before. I know Mr. Forrest Davis has been gone for a year from Community Economic Development. I know you said you have to pull from the personnel board. And I know we're getting all this grant money that's going to Community Economic Development, to CDBG. Are we still looking to hire any directors? Are we going to pull off the personnel list? Are we actively, engaging?
You're exactly correct, Councilor Alexander. That is an administrative issue. As a matter of fact, and so I've had the opportunity the interview and stuff several people that unfortunately withdrew and stuff their application for consideration. I don't know and so why they withdrew it, but I interviewed 2 people. I was getting ready to hire them. They sent me letters and withdrew their consideration. We'll continue to do what we need and stuff to do to fill the position.
Thank you, Mayor Beverly.
District 4.
I will continue to send my request to the mayor's office through Terrain.
Thank you so much. District 5. District 6. District 7. District 7. District 3. We will continue to send our messages. District 7. I see you, but I don't hear you.
Madam President,
Yes, sir, Councilor Collier.
just to make an update, please blame it on my mind and not on my heart. Pray for the Woods family also, who was out of the old Jonesboro area, who lost their loved one. Thank you.
Councilor Collier, we're all human, we all err. Councilor Crusoe, District 7.
Yes, ma'am. I'll forward everything onto the, I had a call, it just came through and threw me all the way off, but I'll forward it to the mayor's office or pick back up on next week, on next Tuesday. Thank you so much.
We will continue to forward to Terrain and the mayor. But what we will ask is that Mayor Gully, please, if you would take a look at Dartmouth Avenue when it gets dark for lighting, because it is dark on Dartmouth Avenue. Councilors, I thank you so much for your time, for one, and I thank you for a very fruitful meeting. I feel like we got several things accomplished today and this year. Item number 21, Ms. Taylor.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to
adjourn.
I need a
second.
second. And I need a roll call, Ms. Taylor.
Councilor Alexander.
Aye.
Councilor Collier.
It's already gone.
Councilor Crusoe.
Aye. Y'all be blessed. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Thank you. Councilor Marshall. Councilor Thigpen.
Aye.
Okay. Councilor Matthews. Councilor Matthews. Councilor Donald.
Aye.
5 ayes, no nays, the motion carries.
Have a good weekend and have a great week.